Hey there, welcome in. Go ahead and get comfortable because you found your way to exactly the right place for tonight. Before we begin, let me just say, I'm really glad you're here. Whether it's late and the house has finally gone quiet, or you're wrapped up in blankets watching the ceiling, or maybe you've had one of those long, tangled days where your mind just won't slow down. It's okay now. You can let all of that go. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to fix, no thought you need to finish. For the next little while, your only job is to rest. So take a slow breath in for me, nice and gentle, and let it out even slower. There we go. Feel your shoulders drop just a little. Feel the weight of your body sink into whatever's holding you up right now, the mattress, the pillow, the cushion. Let it hold you completely. You don't have to carry anything tonight. Tonight, we're going to spend some quiet time together, talking about something that's been quietly keeping this whole planet alive for a very, very long time. Plants. I know. It might sound like a strange thing to fall asleep to, but honestly, that's kind of the point. There's something deeply calming about the green, patient, unhurried world of plants. They don't rush. They don't panic. They just grow, slowly, steadily, reaching toward the light in their own gentle way. And I think there's a little bit of peace in that we could all use right about now. Here's the thing about plants. We walk past them every single day and barely give them a second thought. The tree on the corner, the little pot of herbs on the kitchen windowsill, the moss creeping along a shady stone, the grass under our feet. They're just there, quietly doing their thing. And yet, underneath all that stillness, there's a whole world of wonder happening. Secret conversations, ancient survival tricks, roots stretching down into the dark, leaves drinking in the sun. It's this slow, beautiful, endless story that's been unfolding for hundreds of millions of years, and most of us have never stopped to really notice it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Slowly, softly, no rush. We're going to wander through some of the most soothing, gentle, surprisingly lovely facts about the green world all around us. And my hope is that somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, you'll drift off. That's the whole idea. If you don't hear the end of tonight's story, well, that means I've done my job right. Now, before we sink in any deeper, let me ask you one small favor, and then I promise I'll get right back to helping you relax. If you enjoy these calm little journeys, if this is the kind of thing that helps quiet your mind at the end of the day, take just a second to like this video and subscribe. It's a tiny thing, but honestly, it helps more than you know. It lets me keep making these, keep showing up here in the dark with you, keep doing what I love, which is helping folks drift off, one sleepy soul at a time. That's really all I'm here to do. So if you feel like it, tap that button and then let your hand fall back down. Let your eyes go soft, and we'll carry on. Okay, good. Now, where were we? Let's start soft and simple, because you don't need to concentrate on any of this. You really don't. There's no quiz at the end. You don't need to remember a single word. In fact, the less you try to hold on to, the better. Just let my voice be like a warm blanket, something to rest against while your thoughts slow down and settle, like leaves drifting gently to the bottom of a still pond. Think for a moment about a plant, any plant. Maybe one you can picture from your own home, or a garden you used to know, or a tree you walk past today. Picture it standing there, quiet and green. Now here's something worth sitting with. That plant, in its own patient, silent way, is doing something almost magical. It's taking sunlight, just plain old sunlight, along with a little water and the air around it. And it's turning all of that into food, into life. It's building itself out of light. Isn't that a lovely thought? While we sleep, while we rush around, while the whole world spins and worries, plants are quietly weaving sunbeams into leaves and stems and flowers. They are, in the most literal sense, made of light and air and water. Nothing more. We call this photosynthesis, and I know that's a big, clunky word, so don't worry about it. Just let it float past. But think about what it really means. Almost everything you've ever eaten, every breath of oxygen you've ever taken, traces back to this one quiet miracle happening inside little green cells. The apple, the bread, the vegetables on your plate. And even the animals we get food from, well, they ate plants too. So really, when you follow the thread all the way back, it always leads to a leaf turning its face toward the sun. All of it. Every meal you've ever had began with a plant catching the light. And here's the part I find so soothing. Plants have been doing this for an unimaginably long time. Long before there were people. Long before there were dinosaurs even. We're talking hundreds of millions of years. Somewhere around 3 billion years ago, the very first tiny living things learned this trick of catching sunlight. And slowly, ever so slowly, they filled the whole sky with the oxygen we breathe today. Every single breath you're taking right now, in and out, soft and easy, is a gift from the green world. The air in your lungs at this very moment was made by plants. Little living things, quietly breathing out the very thing that keeps you alive. Let that settle over you like a warm quilt. You are, in a very real way, connected to every plant that has ever lived. The breath moving through you right now, that slow, gentle rhythm, is part of a story billions of years old. And you don't have to do a thing to be part of it. You just breathe, in and out. The plants take care of the rest. Isn't it funny how we tend to think of plants as sort of background? Like scenery, the green stuff behind the important things. But when you really slow down and look, they're anything but simple. A single leaf is one of the most sophisticated things in all of nature. Inside it, there are millions of tiny green factories, all working together in perfect silence, each one capturing sunlight with a precision our best machines can only dream of. And it does all this without a sound, without any fuss, no motors humming, no lights blinking, just quiet, green, patient life. I think that's part of why plants are so good to fall asleep to. They live at a completely different pace than we do. We're always rushing, always checking the time, always on to the next thing. But a plant might spend a whole day just slowly turning to follow the sun across the sky. It might spend years reaching a little higher, decades, some of them, centuries. There's no hurry in the world of plants. And tonight, there's no hurry for you either. You can borrow a little of that stillness, that slow, green calm. Let yourself move at the pace of a growing thing, which is to say, barely at all, just resting, just being. Feel how your breathing has already started to slow. Notice how your body feels a little heavier now, a little warmer, a little more willing to just let go. That's good. That's exactly right. You don't have to make anything happen. Sleep isn't something you chase. It's something you allow, like a seed in the soil. You don't force it to grow. You just give it the quiet and the dark, and it happens all on its own. So give yourself that same gift now. The quiet, the dark, the permission to simply rest. As we go on tonight, I'll share all sorts of gentle little wonders from the plant world. Some of them might surprise you. Some might make you smile softly in the dark, and plenty of them, hopefully, will simply blur together into a warm, pleasant hum as you drift further and further down towards sleep. There's no wrong way to listen. If your mind wanders off, that's fine. If you lose track of what I'm saying, that's perfect actually. If you fall asleep before I've barely gotten started, then wonderful. That's the best outcome of all. Because here's the truth. I'm not really here to teach you anything. Not tonight. I'm here to keep you company in the quiet, to give your busy mind something soft and gentle to rest on, so it stops spinning through tomorrow's to-do list and yesterday's worries. Plants are just our excuse to slow down together. A calm, green path to wander down until your eyes grow too heavy to keep open. So let's make a little agreement, you and me. For the rest of our time together, you don't have to be anywhere but here. You don't have to solve anything. You don't have to be anyone. You can set it all down, all of it, the whole heavy pile of it, right here at the edge of sleep. And we'll just breathe and wander and let the quiet green world do what it does best, which is remind us that life can be slow and gentle and good. Take one more slow breath with me now, in through the nose, soft and easy, and out through the mouth, letting everything soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your forehead smooth out. Let your hands go loose and open. There, you're doing beautifully. There's nothing more you need to do. The world outside can keep spinning without you for a while. The night is long and soft and yours. And the plants, the quiet green companions of this whole planet, they'll keep breathing right along with you, filling the dark with the gentle rhythm of living things. You're in good company tonight. The oldest, calmest, most patient company there is. So settle in a little deeper. Let the pillow cradle your head. Let the warmth wrap all the way around you. And let's begin our slow, sleepy wander through the green and gentle world of plants. Together, nice and easy, with nowhere to go and all the time in the world. Just keep breathing, keep resting, and let me carry the rest from here. Let's start somewhere small, really small, smaller than you'd think for something that's about to blow your mind a little. A single blade of grass. You've stepped over millions of them without ever once stopping to think about what they're actually up to. But here's the thing about grass. It doesn't grow from the tip, the way you might imagine. It grows from the very bottom, right down near the soil, from a little hidden zone tucked close to the ground. And that's exactly why it can survive being mowed, or grazed, or trampled over and over again. It just keeps pushing up from below, patient and unbothered, like it's got all the time in the world. Which honestly, it kind of does. Isn't that a lovely little thing to know as you're lying there? That the whole green carpet of the world is designed to be walked on and still come back, still rise, Still keep going. There's something gentle in that, something forgiving. Now let your mind drift somewhere a little taller. Picture a tree, any tree you like, maybe one from your childhood, one you used to sit under, or climb, or just walk past on the way to somewhere else. Here's something soft and strange to carry into sleep. A tree is mostly air. I know that sounds impossible. It's this big, solid, heavy thing. And yet the bulk of what makes up a tree, all that wood, all that mass, it came out of thin air. Out of the carbon floating around in the sky, the tree just breathed it in, slowly, over years and years, and turned it into trunk and branch and leaf. So the next time you lean against a tree, you're really leaning against captured sunlight and old, gathered air, held together in the quietest, most patient way imaginable. Let that one just float there for a moment. A tree built out of sky. No rush to understand it. Just let it be a nice thing that's true. And speaking of trees, here's one that always makes me feel calm when I think about it. There are trees alive on this planet right now that are older than, well, older than almost anything you can name. There's a certain kind of pine, way up in the high, cold mountains, growing slowly in thin, rocky soil. And some of these trees have been alive for more than 4,000 years. Just sit with that number for a second. 4,000 years. That means there are living things standing quietly on hillsides tonight that were already old, already ancient, when the great pyramids were brand new. They've stood through every storm, every winter, every long dark night for 40 centuries. And they did it without ever moving an inch, without ever hurrying, without ever once worrying about tomorrow. They just kept breathing, kept growing, a hair at a time. And they're still there right now, in the dark, doing exactly that. Doesn't that put the whole day into a softer kind of focus? Whatever felt so urgent a few hours ago, whatever was pressing on you, those ancient trees have seen 4,000 years of urgent things come and go. And here they still stand, calm as ever. You can borrow a little of that calm tonight. There's plenty to go around. Let's wander over to something you've probably held in your own hands. A sunflower. You know the way a sunflower seems to follow the sun across the sky. In the morning it faces east, waiting for the light. And through the day it slowly turns, tracking the sun as it moves overhead, until by evening it's facing west, watching the last of the light go down. This gentle, patient turning has a name. It's called heliotropism, which is just a fancy word for a flower that loves the light and leans toward it. But here's the part that I find so tender. Young sunflowers do this dance every single day. And then, once they're fully grown, they settle. They stop turning. They come to rest, most of them facing east, toward the sunrise, and there they stay. As if, after all that following, they finally found the one direction that feels like home. Toward the morning, toward the light coming back. There's something in that worth holding on to as you drift off. All that searching, all that turning this way and that. And then, eventually, stillness. Finding your direction and simply resting in it. You can rest in yours now. You don't have to keep turning tonight. Here's a small one, a quiet one. Have you ever noticed how, after it rains, the world has this particular smell? That earthy, green, fresh scent that seems to rise right up out of the ground. That smell has a name too. It's called petrichor. And a good part of it comes from the plants themselves and from tiny living things in the soil, releasing oils and little compounds that get stirred up when the raindrops land. So that beautiful after the rain smell you love so much, it's really the earth and the plants exhaling together. A shared breath between the soil and the sky. And now, whenever you smell it, you'll know it's the world quietly letting out a sigh of relief, just like the one your own body is settling into right now. Let your shoulders sink a little further into the bed as I tell you this next one. Think about a seed, any seed, something tiny, dry, seemingly lifeless. You could hold thousands of them in the palm of one hand. And yet, tucked inside each one is a complete, patient little plan for an entire living thing. A seed can wait. That's its great secret. It can sit and wait, sometimes for years, sometimes for far, far longer, until the conditions are just right. There have been seeds pulled from ancient, frozen ground, seeds that had been sleeping for thousands of years. And when they were finally given a bit of warmth and water and light, they woke up. They sprouted. They grew. After all that time asleep in the cold and the dark, they simply picked up right where they left off, as though no time had passed at all. Isn't that a wonderful thing to fall asleep to? That rest, even very long rest, isn't the end of anything. It's just waiting, just gathering yourself in the quiet until it's time to rise again. Your sleep tonight is like that. Not a stopping, just a gentle waiting. Your own quiet season, storing up everything you'll need for the morning. Let's stay with the idea of patience, because plants are the great teachers of it. Consider bamboo for a moment. There's a kind of bamboo that, when you first plant it, seems to do absolutely nothing for a very long time. You water it, you tend to it, and for years you might see barely anything at all above the ground. It looks, honestly, like nothing is happening. But under the surface, out of sight, it's been building, spreading its roots, getting ready. And then, when it's finally good and ready, it can shoot upward astonishingly fast, growing many centimeters in a single day, rising up toward the light like it's suddenly making up for all that quiet waiting. All those slow, invisible years weren't wasted. They were the whole point. The roots had to come first. So if some part of your life feels like it's been quiet lately, like nothing much is happening on the surface, maybe just remember the bamboo. Maybe the roots are still growing. Maybe you're getting ready in ways you can't see yet. But not tonight. Tonight there's nothing to grow toward, nothing to get ready for. Tonight, you just get to be the seed in the dark soil, resting, held, exactly where you're supposed to be. Here's a gentle one about how plants talk to each other. And yes, in their own slow, quiet way, they really do. Beneath the forest floor, there's a vast hidden web made of tiny threads of fungus, weaving in and around the roots of the trees, connecting them all together. Scientists have given it a rather charming nickname. They call it the Wood Wide Web. And through this underground network, trees can actually share things. A big, older tree can send sugars and nourishment through the soil to a smaller, younger one that's struggling in the shade. They can even send little warning signals to one another. So a whole forest isn't really a crowd of lonely, separate trees all competing. It's more like a family, a quiet, connected community. looking after one another through the dark soil, passing kindness back and forth where no one can see. Let that warm you a little, right down to your bones. Even the trees don't stand entirely alone. Even in the deep, silent forest, everything is holding hands underground. And you're part of that same living world tonight. Connected, held, never quite as alone as the quiet might make you feel. Now here's something about leaves that I think is just quietly beautiful. Have you ever really looked at the pattern of veins in a single leaf? That delicate, branching network running all through it. Those are the leaf's little rivers, carrying water and food to every last corner, out to the farthest edge. And the pattern they make, that branching, spreading shape, it's the very same pattern you find almost everywhere in nature. In the way rivers split across the land. In the branches of the tree the leaf grows on. Even, if you can believe it, in the way the tiniest blood vessels branch through your own body. It's as if nature found one good, gentle idea for moving life around, one graceful shape, and used it over and over. From the smallest leaf to the widest river to the beat of your own quiet heart. So when you hold a leaf up to the light and see those veins glowing through it, you're really looking at the same design that's running through you, right now, carrying warmth to your resting hands, your heavy legs, your slowing, softening body. You and the leaf, built on the same quiet plan. Isn't that a kind of comfort? Let's slow down even more. Let me tell you about moss, sweet, soft, humble moss. Moss is one of the oldest kinds of plant on the whole earth, and it does things in the gentlest way imaginable. It has no proper roots, not really. No flowers, no fuss. It just spreads itself out, low and soft, over stones and logs and shady ground. And it drinks in moisture straight from the air and the rain, right through its tiny leaves. Moss doesn't compete for the tallest spot in the sun. It doesn't need to. It's perfectly content down low, in the cool and the damp and the shade, cushioning the whole forest floor in green velvet, asking for almost nothing at all. And it's been doing this, quietly, softly, for hundreds of millions of years. There's a whole way of living tucked into that little patch of moss. Take what you need. Stay soft. Don't compete for heights you don't even want. Cover the world in something gentle and let that be enough. You can carry that into your sleep. You don't have to be the tallest thing in the forest tonight. You can just be soft and low and resting, and that is more than enough. Feel the weight of your whole body now, sinking, settling, letting the bed hold every last bit of you. And let me offer you one more little wonder before we drift on. Water lilies, those calm, floating flowers resting on the still surface of a pond. Down below, their stems reach all the way to the mud at the bottom, sometimes stretching a good long way through the dark water. And each night, many of them gently close their petals and sink, or draw inward, folding up as the light fades. Then, come morning, as the sun returns and warms the water, they open again and lift their faces back to the light. They have their own rhythm, you see, their own quiet routine of opening and closing, waking and resting, in perfect time with the day and the night. You have that rhythm too. This is simply your closing time. The light has faded, and like the water lily, you're folding gently inward, drawing yourself in, sinking down toward the still and quiet dark. And in the morning, when the warmth returns, you'll open again, all on your own, without even trying. But that's hours away. Right now, there's only the closing, only the soft, slow sinking, only the rest. So let yourself keep drifting through this green and gentle world with me. There's no destination, no place we're trying to reach. Just one soft, slow wonder after another, like stepping stones laid down across a quiet stream, carrying you further and further from the noise of the day. And with every one, you sink a little deeper, a little heavier, a little closer to sleep. Let's drift on to something that feels almost like a fairy tale, except it's completely true. Seeds, little seeds, and how patient they can be. You might think a seed is a simple thing, just waiting a week or two in the soil before it sprouts. But some seeds can wait far, far longer than that. There are seeds that lie in the ground, quiet and dry and perfectly still, for years, for decades, and in a few astonishing cases, for thousands of years. Scientists once found some ancient date palm seeds tucked away in an old desert fortress, seeds that had been resting untouched for around 2,000 years. And when they gave those little seeds some soil and some water and a bit of gentle care, one of them woke up. After 2,000 years of waiting in the dark, it stirred, and it sprouted, and it grew into a living tree. Just let that sink in for a moment. A seed can hold its whole self in reserve, all its potential, all its life, folded up tight and still, for longer than most human history. It isn't dead during all that time. It isn't gone. It's simply waiting, resting, holding on, patiently, until the conditions are right. And there's such comfort in that, isn't there? The idea that stillness isn't the same as ending, that you can be perfectly quiet, perfectly at rest, doing nothing at all that anyone can see, and still be holding everything you need inside you, whole and safe and ready for whenever the time comes. Tonight, you're allowed to be like that seed. You don't have to grow. You don't have to reach for anything. You can just rest in the dark, keeping yourself, waiting gently for morning. And morning will come. It always does. But not yet. Now let me tell you about something enormous and quiet out in the forests of the American West. There's a kind of tree called an aspen, with pale bark and little round leaves that shimmer and tremble in the softest breeze. And aspens do something wonderful. What looks like a whole forest of separate trees, thousands of individual trunks standing side by side, can actually be a single living thing, all connected underground by one shared root system. There's a famous grove like this, and people have given it a name. They call it Pando, which means I spread. And this one organism, this single connected being made of thousands of trunks, is thought to be one of the oldest and heaviest living things on the entire planet. Thousands of trees, breathing together, growing together, all quietly joined beneath the soil as one. Think about that as you lie here. All those trunks that look separate, that look alone, are really part of one whole. Reaching down through the dark, they're holding hands under the ground, sharing everything, never truly apart. And there's a soft kind of truth in that for us too. Even when we feel separate, even at the end of a long day when the world seems very quiet and you're lying here on your own, you're still part of something larger, still connected in ways you can't always see. to everyone and everything that shares this warm and living world with you. You're not as alone as the dark sometimes makes you feel. You're one trunk in a great, quiet grove, and the roots run deep, and they hold you. Let's stay gentle and go smaller again. Have you ever picked up a dandelion? Not the bright yellow flower, but the one that comes later, when it's turned into that soft, silvery globe of seeds, so light and delicate, you're almost afraid to breathe near it. Each one of those little wisps is a seed with its own tiny parachute, waiting for the wind. And when the breeze comes, or when a child leans in and blows, they lift off all together and float away on the air. Some drift just a little way. Others catch the wind and travel remarkable distances, riding the breeze for miles before they finally settle somewhere new and begin again. The dandelion doesn't cling to its seeds. It doesn't hold on tight. It simply lets go and trusts the wind to carry each one exactly where it needs to be. There's a soft lesson tucked into that, the kind that's easy to receive right now, when your mind is unclutching and your grip on the day is loosening. Sometimes the gentlest, wisest thing is simply to let go, to release the little worries you've been carrying, the ones you've been holding so tightly, and let them lift off into the dark like dandelion seeds on the wind. You don't have to hold everything tonight. You don't have to keep your grip on anything at all. You can open your hands and let the day scatter softly away from you, and trust that everything will land where it's meant to land. Let go. Just let go and drift. Now, if you could peel back the bark of an old tree and look at the wood inside, you'd find something beautiful there. Rings. Circle inside circle, each one marking a single year of the tree's long life. In the wet, gentle years, when there was plenty of rain and easy sunshine, the tree grew quickly, and its rings are wide and generous. In the hard years, the dry years, the difficult ones, the rings are thin and close together. So a tree carries its whole story inside itself, written in rings. Every good year, every hard year, every season it ever lived through, all of it held quietly in the heart of the wood. You could read the tree's entire life just by looking, like turning the pages of a very slow, very patient book. And isn't that a lovely way to think about a life? That the hard years and the easy years all become part of the same trunk, all woven together into one whole, one strong and living thing. The thin rings aren't failures. They're just the seasons when growing was harder, and the tree kept going anyway, quietly adding a little more, even when it wasn't easy. You have rings like that too. All your years, the bright ones and the difficult ones, layered gently inside you, holding you up, making you exactly as strong and as real as you are right now. And today, whatever it held, has just become one more soft ring, settling into place as you rest. Let me take you somewhere misty now, to the coast of California, where the tallest trees on earth stand, the giant redwoods, rising so high that their tops disappear into the clouds. These trees can grow taller than a 30-story building, so tall that pulling water all the way up from their roots to their highest leaves is a real challenge, even for them. So the redwoods do something clever and quiet. High up, where the fog rolls in off the ocean, their topmost leaves drink the moisture straight out of the mist. They gather water right from the air around them, catching the fog on their needles, letting it soak in and even drip down to nourish the rest of the tree below. They've learned to take what they need, not just from the ground, but from the very air, from the soft gray mist that wraps around them each morning. There's something so peaceful about that image, a giant tree standing utterly still in the cool fog, simply letting the moisture come to it, drinking in the quiet mist without any effort at all. It doesn't have to reach or strain or chase anything. The fog just settles, and the tree just receives it, gently, patiently. And you can be like that now. You don't have to reach for sleep or chase it down. You can just let it settle over you, soft as sea fog, and drink it in without any effort at all. Let it come to you. Let it wrap around you, cool and quiet and kind, and soak in slowly, all the way down. Here's a small and tender one. Ferns, those lovely, feathery green plants that grow in the shady, damp corners of the woods. When a new fern leaf first appears, it doesn't come out flat and open. It comes out curled up tight, coiled into a perfect little spiral, tucked in on itself like something sleeping. People sometimes call these little coils fiddleheads because they look a bit like the scrolled top of a violin. And then, ever so slowly, over days, that tight little spiral unfurls. It opens gently, one small turn at a time, unrolling itself into the light until at last it stretches out into a full, feathery frond. There's no rush to it, no sudden burst. Just a slow, patient uncurling in its own quiet time. You might feel a little like that fern tonight, all curled in, all folded up after the long day, holding yourself in that tight, protective coil the way we all do when we're tired and the world's been a lot. And that's perfectly all right. You don't need to unfurl all at once. You don't need to open up or figure anything out. You can just rest in your soft little spiral, knowing that unfolding happens on its own, slowly, gently, in its own good time, whenever it's ready. For now, curled and quiet is exactly right. Curled and quiet is enough. Let's think about the cactus for a moment, out in the wide, dry desert, under that huge open sky. You'd think nothing could rest easy in a place so harsh, so dry, where the rain hardly ever comes. But the cactus has it figured out. When the rain does finally fall all at once in those rare desert storms, the cactus drinks deeply, and then it stores that water away inside itself, tucked into its thick, patient body, and it holds on to that water carefully, sipping from its own reserves through all the long dry months that follow, in no hurry at all, perfectly calm, even when the world around it is parched and still. It carries its own quiet supply of everything it needs, right there inside, so it never has to worry about the drought. And many desert flowers do something even lovelier. They wait. They bloom only at night, when the fierce heat of the day has finally softened into cool darkness. Under the moon, when the desert is quiet and calm, they open their petals to the night air and release their sweetest scent into the dark. They save their most beautiful moment for the cool and the quiet, for the peaceful hours after the harsh brightness has gone. There's a kind of wisdom in that, don't you think? Knowing that some things are meant for the daytime, and some things, the softest and sweetest things, are meant only for the night. Rest is one of those things. It belongs to the dark. It belongs to right now. Let me tell you one more before we drift on. Something you might have growing in your own garden without ever thinking twice about it. Lavender. Those slender stalks topped with tiny purple flowers, releasing that soft, sweet, calming scent into the warm air. People have loved lavender for thousands of years, and not just because it's pretty. There's something in that gentle fragrance that seems to slow us down, to soften the edges of a busy mind, to whisper to the body that it's safe now, that it's time to ease. For as long as anyone can remember, people have tucked little sprigs of lavender under their pillows and into their sheets, breathing in that quiet scent to help themselves drift off into sleep. A whole plant whose gift to the world is calm, whose whole soft purpose seems to be helping tired creatures rest. So imagine it now, if you like. A field of lavender at dusk, stretching out in gentle rows of soft purple, the whole warm evening air heavy with that sweet, soothing scent. A quiet breeze moving through it, so the whole field sways together, slow and dreamy. And with every breath you take, you're breathing in a little more of that calm, letting it settle deeper and deeper into you, softening everything it touches. Your thoughts growing slower, your body growing heavier, everything easing the way the whole world eases at the end of a long, warm day, when the light has gone soft and gold and low, and there's nothing left to do but rest. And so we keep on drifting, you and I, through this green and gentle world, one soft wonder at a time. There's still no place we're trying to reach, nothing you have to remember, nothing you have to hold. Just these quiet little stepping stones laid down across the dark, each one carrying you a little further from the noise of the day, a little deeper into the stillness, a little closer to the soft and dreamless place where sleep is already waiting for you, patient as a seed, quiet as moss, gentle as fog settling over a tall and ancient tree. Let's stay right here for a while, in this soft and unhurried place, and let me tell you about something you've probably held in your hand 100 times without ever really seeing it. A pine cone. That small woody little thing, tucked among the needles, closed up tight like a fist. You might think it's just sitting there, doing nothing at all. But a pine cone is quietly paying attention to the world around it, feeling the air, sensing whether the day is damp or dry. When the air is moist, it stays closed, holding its seeds safe inside. And when the air turns warm and dry, it slowly opens, spreading its scales wide so the wind can carry its seeds off to somewhere new. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force anything. It simply waits for the right moment, the moment when the conditions are gentle and good, and then it opens, easy and slow. There's no struggle in it, just a quiet patience, a trust that the right time will come, and that when it does, opening will feel like the most natural thing in the world. Isn't that a soft thought to rest on? That some things only open when the moment is right, that you don't have to force yourself into anything tonight. You can just wait, the way the pine cone waits, and let the softness come to you in its own time. There's nothing you need to pry open, nothing you need to work at. Sleep isn't something you have to reach for or chase down. It's more like the warm, dry air that slowly coaxes the pine cone open. It arrives on its own, gently, when everything has finally settled and there's nothing left in the way. So let yourself be as patient as that little cone lying warm in the sun. It'll happen. It always does. And breathe, just softly. In through the nose, slow and easy, and out again, letting your whole body grow just a little heavier with each breath. There's no rush here. We've got all the time in the world, you and I. and nowhere at all we need to be. Now, while you're lying there so comfortably, let me tell you about a plant that lives its whole life on the wind, without ever putting down a single root in the ground. There's a whole family of them, and people call them air plants. Imagine that for a moment, a plant that doesn't need soil at all, that just perches quietly on the branch of a tree, or nestles into the crook of a rock, and drinks everything it needs straight from the air around it. The moisture in the mist, the tiny bits of nourishment drifting on the breeze, that's all it takes. It asks for so little. It just rests where it lands and takes what the air freely gives. Never grasping, never demanding, never worrying about tomorrow. It has learned how to live lightly, how to be held by the world without needing to cling to anything at all. There's something so peaceful in that, isn't there? A living thing that trusts the air to carry what it needs, that doesn't have to hold on tight to survive. And maybe, lying here tonight, you can borrow just a little of that lightness. You can let go of your grip on the day, on the worries, on all the things you were carrying just a few hours ago. You don't have to hold on to any of it right now. You can be as light as an air plant resting on a branch, held up by something gentle and steady, needing nothing more than this quiet breath, this soft bed, this calm, dark room. Let yourself be carried for a while. Let the world hold you the way it holds that little plant on the wind. Let your hands go soft. Let your jaw unclench just a little. Feel the way your whole face can relax when you let it. The small muscles around your eyes going still. Your forehead growing smooth and easy. We hold so much tension in places we never notice. So let it drain away now, slowly, like water sinking down into warm earth. Here's another gentle wonder for you. Deep in the forest, when a great old tree finally falls, having stood for hundreds of years, it doesn't simply disappear. It lies down across the forest floor and becomes what people lovingly call a nurse log. Because as it slowly softens and returns to the earth, it becomes a cradle for new life. Tiny seedlings take root right along its length, drinking in the richness of the old wood, sheltered and fed by the tree that came before them. Mosses spread across it like a soft green blanket. Little ferns unfurl from its sides. Whole rows of young trees sometimes grow straight up out of a single fallen giant, standing in a neat line that traces the shape of the old trunk long after it's gone. The tree that fell is still giving, still holding, still caring for the forest, even in its rest. Its ending was never really an ending at all. It was just a slow turning into something new, a passing of quiet gifts from one generation to the next. Let that settle over you as softly as moss settling over old wood. Nothing gentle is ever truly wasted. Nothing that rests is ever really lost. Even in stillness, even in letting go, there's a kind of quiet giving that goes on and on. And tonight, as you rest, you're part of that same soft rhythm, the great slow breathing of the whole living world, resting and rising, resting and rising, in no hurry at all. Feel your chest rise, just gently, and fall again. That's all you have to do. Everything else can wait. Now let me tell you about a flower that follows a rhythm much like the one you're sinking into right now. There are many flowers that close their petals when night falls, folding themselves gently shut as the light fades, and opening again in the morning when the sun returns. People have known about this for a very, very long time. In fact, there was a curious gardener hundreds of years ago who noticed that different flowers open and close at different hours, so faithfully that you could almost tell the time just by watching them. He dreamed of planting a whole garden arranged like the face of a clock, where one flower would open in the early morning, and another a few hours later, and another after that, each one keeping its own quiet schedule right through the day. A garden that told the time not with hands or numbers, but with the slow opening and closing of petals. Imagine strolling through a garden like that, where the very flowers know what hour it is, where the whole living space breathes in time with the turning of the day. And here's the tender part. As evening comes, those flowers fold themselves closed, drawing their petals inward, going quiet and still for the night. They rest, just like you're resting now. They've done their opening. They've drunk in the sun. They've offered up their color and their sweetness to the day. And now it's time to close, to soften, to sleep. Nobody has to tell them to do it. Their own gentle clock, ticking away deep inside them, simply knows when the light is fading and the time for rest has come. You have that same quiet clock inside you too, that same soft knowing. And right now, it's telling you the very same thing it tells those flowers at dusk. It's time. Time to close up gently. Time to fold inward. Time to let the day go and sink down into the dark and the still. So follow the flowers now. Let your eyes grow heavy if they aren't already. Let them close the way petals close at nightfall, slow and easy, with no effort at all. And feel how good it is, how natural, how right, just to let them stay closed. Let me tell you about one more small marvel before we drift a little deeper. Have you ever thought about how a plant knows which way is up? A seed, buried down in the dark soil, has no eyes, no light to guide it, no way to see the sky it's reaching for. And yet, without fail, its little root grows downward, deeper into the earth, and its first tender shoot grows upward, toward the surface, toward the light it hasn't even met yet. It simply knows. Somewhere in its quiet green wisdom, it feels the pull of the earth and understands which way to grow. It trusts in the total darkness that up is up and down is down, and it moves with a steady, unhurried certainty toward the light it can't yet see. No worry, no doubt, just a slow, sure reaching in the right direction, all on its own, in the dark. There's such comfort in that, don't you think? That even in complete darkness, even when we can't see the way, there's a kind of deep knowing that guides us where we need to go. You don't have to see the whole path tonight. You don't have to figure anything out. Like that little seed in the dark soil, you can simply trust the gentle pull of rest and let it draw you where you're meant to go. Down, down into sleep, as surely as a root grows down into the warm and holding earth. Your body knows the way. It's known it your whole life. All you have to do is let it. Feel how heavy and warm you've become. Feel the bed beneath you, holding you completely, the way the soil holds a seed. There's nothing to do now but sink into that soft holding and let yourself be carried, breath by slow breath, closer and closer to sleep. And before you drift all the way under, I'd love it if you'd leave me a little something in the comments below. Whenever you happen to wake tomorrow, tell me which of these gentle little wonders stayed with you, or maybe a plant you love, one that grows in your own garden or on your own windowsill, one that brings you a bit of quiet joy. I read every single one, and there's something so lovely about knowing we're all drifting off together, sharing these soft green thoughts across all the miles between us. But there's no need to do a single thing right now, of course. Right now, the only thing that matters is this breath, and the next one, and the warm, heavy stillness settling over you like a blanket of fog over an old and gentle forest. So just keep drifting with me, soft and slow, and let's wander on together into the next quiet wonder, in no hurry at all. Let me tell you about something that happens high up in the treetops, in a place most of us never think to look. If you ever lie down beneath a stand of tall trees and gaze straight up, you might notice something quietly wonderful. The very tips of the branches, the outermost leaves of one tree and the next, they don't quite touch. They leave these soft, winding gaps between them, little rivers of open sky running along the top of the forest. The scientists who study such things gave it a lovely name. They call it crown shyness. Isn't that a gentle phrase? Crown shyness. As if each tree, for all its reaching and growing, still leaves a little room for its neighbor, still keeps a quiet space between itself and the trees around it, so that everyone gets a bit of light and no one is crowded. And the whole canopy above becomes this soft mosaic of leaves and sky, all of it fitting together without ever pushing or shoving. There's something so restful in that, isn't there? The idea that even in a crowded forest, even reaching for the very same sunlight, the trees find a way to give one another space. No hurry to fill every gap, no need to take up all the room, just a slow, easy sharing of the sky. And you can rest in that same easy way tonight. You don't have to fill every space in your mind. You don't have to reach for anything at all. You can leave those soft gaps open, those quiet little rivers of stillness, and simply let them be. Let your thoughts drift apart the way those branches do, gently, with plenty of room between them, and let the calm, dark sky show through in all the spaces in between. Breathe in now, slow and easy, and let it go. Feel how your body sinks just a little further into the bed with every breath, the way an old branch settles lower and lower over the years, softening, easing, letting gravity do all the work. Here's another quiet marvel to rest your mind on. Think about a cactus for a moment, out there in some warm, dry place where the rain comes so rarely it's almost a rumor. You might imagine that kind of life would be a struggle, always thirsty, always waiting. But the cactus has worked out something clever and calm. Deep inside its thick green body, it holds water. It stores it up, quietly, patiently, so that when the dry months stretch on and on, it has everything it needs tucked safely away inside. It doesn't panic when the rain stops. It doesn't wither at the first hot day. It simply draws on what it saved, sipping slowly from its own quiet reserves, in no rush at all. And those spines you see all along its surface, they're not there to be fierce. They started out as leaves, long, long ago, and over time they narrowed and hardened, partly to keep the precious water from slipping away into the dry air. Even its defenses are really just a way of holding on gently to what matters most. Isn't that a soft thing to think about as you lie here? That there's a kind of wisdom in keeping something in reserve, in not spending everything all at once. Tonight, you don't need to draw on anything. You've done enough today. You've given enough. Now is the time to fill back up, slowly, the way the cactus fills with water after a long-awaited rain. Every slow breath you take is a little more rest flowing into you, a little more calm, a little more quiet filling all the dry and tired corners of the day. There's nothing to do but let it in. Let the rest pool inside you, soft and cool and unhurried, and let it hold you through the whole long night ahead. Let me tell you now about the roots beneath us, the part of the plant we so rarely see. When you look at a tree standing in a field, you're really only seeing half of it. Below the ground, spreading out wide and deep, there's a whole other tree made of roots, reaching quietly through the dark soil. And here's the gentle thing about how roots grow. They move toward water, slowly, over weeks and months. A root will grow in the direction where the soil is a little damper, a little richer, a little more welcoming. It can't see the water. It has no map. But it feels its way there all the same, growing patiently toward what will nourish it, one tiny bit of growth at a time. Some roots grow so slowly you'd never catch them moving. And yet, given enough time, they find their way to exactly what they need, curling softly around a hidden spring, settling into the moist earth, drinking deeply and steadily for years and years. You're a little like those roots tonight. You don't have to see where you're going. You don't have to know the way. You can just feel your way, slowly, toward the rest you need, growing quietly heavier and softer with each breath, settling deeper into the warm and holding dark. Sleep is the water your body has been reaching for all day long. And now, at last, you're growing right toward it, slow and sure, in no hurry at all. Just let yourself keep reaching, gently, toward that deep and quiet place, and trust that you'll arrive there exactly when you're meant to. Feel your legs now, how heavy they've become. Feel them sinking into the mattress, all the weight of them melting downward, warm and loose. Let your feet fall open, just a little, however they want to rest. There's nothing to hold, nothing to keep in place. Just let every part of you settle where it wants to be. Here's something lovely about how certain plants travel, since a plant, of course, can't get up and walk, and yet plants have found the most wonderful, patient ways to send their seeds out into the world. Some of them make little wings, thin papery blades that spin slowly through the air, twirling down like tiny helicopters, carried on the softest breeze to some new patch of ground far from where they started. Some make seeds so light and downy they float for miles on the wind, drifting over fields and rivers and rooftops, in no rush to land, just riding the air wherever it happens to go. And some make sweet, soft fruit, so that a bird or a small creature will come along and carry the seeds off inside and plant them somewhere new without ever meaning to. Every one of these is a slow journey, a gentle drifting, a letting go of the parent plant, and a trusting to the wind, the water, the kindness of a passing bird. There's such peace in that image, don't you think? A seed on the wind, carried along without effort, without struggle, simply going wherever the soft air takes it. You can drift like that now. You don't have to steer. You don't have to push. Just let the gentle current of your own tiredness carry you along, lighter and lighter, further and further from the busy shore of the day. Like a little seed on a summer breeze, you're being carried somewhere soft and safe, somewhere you've been many times before. that warm and dreamless country where sleep is already waiting. And all you have to do is let the wind carry you there. Let me share one more before we drift a little deeper still. Think about how a plant grows toward the light. If you've ever kept a plant on a windowsill, you might have noticed how, over the days, it slowly turns itself to face the window, all its leaves tilting gently toward the sun. It happens so gradually, you can hardly catch it. But bit by bit, the plant leans into the light, following it across the sky as the seasons turn. There's even a word for it. Scientists call it phototropism, but you don't need to hold on to that. All it really means is that the plant knows where its warmth and nourishment come from, and it turns, softly and steadily, to face it. No effort you could see, no sudden movement, just a slow and constant leaning toward the good. And isn't that a comforting thought to carry down into sleep? That every living green thing has this quiet built-in wisdom, this gentle turning toward what helps it grow. You have that same wisdom in you. Right now, in this soft and darkening room, every part of you is turning, slowly and steadily, toward rest, toward the deep and healing quiet that your body has been craving all day long. You don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen. You're already leaning that way, the way a leaf leans toward the morning sun, drawn by something older and wiser than any thought. Just let yourself keep turning toward the softness. Keep leaning into the calm, and let it hold you. Breathe in now, gentle and slow, and let the breath go all the way out, taking a little more of the day with it each time. Feel your whole body growing heavier, warmer, softer, sinking down into the bed, like a stone settling slowly to the bottom of a still, deep pond. There's no bottom you need to reach in a hurry. Just a slow and easy drifting downward, deeper and deeper into the quiet. And here's a small green wonder that I've always found so soothing. Have you ever thought about how quiet a forest is, and yet how much is happening in it, all the time, in complete silence? The trees are drinking water up from their roots, lifting it high into their tallest branches, moving whole rivers of it through their trunks every single day, and you can't hear a thing. The leaves are quietly turning sunlight into food, working away all through the daylight hours, and there's not a sound to it. Flowers are opening, roots are reaching, fungus is weaving its soft threads through the soil. A whole world of slow, patient work, and all of it happening in the deepest hush, without any fuss or noise at all. The forest does its living quietly. It doesn't need to announce a single thing. I love that, and I think you might too, especially now. There's such a difference between quiet and empty. A silent forest isn't empty at all. It's full, brimming with life and growth and gentle work, all of it unfolding softly in the dark. And this quiet room you're in right now is the same. It might be silent, but it's full of something too. Full of rest, full of the slow, steady work your own body is doing to carry you down towards sleep. Your heart beating soft and even. Your breath moving slow. All of it happening quietly, without any effort from you, just like the hidden life of the forest. You don't have to do a thing. You can just lie here in the full and living quiet, and let all that gentle work carry on around you and inside you, drawing you deeper and deeper into peace. Let your jaw soften now. Let your tongue rest easy in your mouth. Let the little muscles around your eyes go completely loose, the way they do just before you fall asleep. Let your forehead smooth out, all the small worries of the day melting away from it like frost melting off a leaf in the morning sun. Softer and softer still. Think, if you like, of a great forest at night, the way it settles into the dark. The birds have tucked their heads beneath their wings. The flowers have folded their petals closed. The whole green world has gone quiet and still, resting in the cool night air, waiting patiently for the morning that will surely come. Nothing in that forest is worried about the dark. Nothing is fighting to stay awake. Every leaf, every root, every sleeping creature simply trusts the night, lets it come, and rests inside it. The forest knows that darkness isn't something to fear. It's just the other half of the day, the part where everything gathers its strength again, quietly in the dark. You can trust the night in just the same way. You can let it come, soft and cool and welcome, and let yourself rest inside it the way the whole forest does. There's nothing here in the dark that isn't gentle, nothing that isn't on your side. Just the quiet and the stillness and the deep, slow pull of sleep, drawing you down as surely as the night draws the flowers closed. Let it draw you down now. Let it carry you, breath by slow breath, into that soft and dreamless dark, where everything living goes to rest and grow again. So keep drifting with me, easy and slow. Let each breath be a little slower than the last. Let each one carry you a little further from the day, a little deeper into the warm and holding quiet. There's nowhere to be but here, nothing to do but breathe and soften and sink. And as you drift, we'll wander gently on together into the next quiet wonder, in no hurry at all, following these soft green thoughts down into the stillness, the way a slow stream follows its winding way down through a shady wood, unhurried, patient, always finding its way, in the end, to the deep and peaceful place where it's meant to rest. And so we drift on, gentle and unhurried, into the next soft wonder waiting for us in the quiet. Let me tell you about a little plant that folds itself up at the slightest touch. There's a plant, sometimes called the sensitive plant, with delicate feathery leaves that spread wide open in the daytime, drinking in the light. But if anything brushes against it, even the softest touch of a fingertip, the whole leaf folds itself closed in an instant, drawing its little leaflets together, tucking them in as if it were suddenly shy. And then, after a while, when everything has been calm and still for long enough, it slowly opens back up again, leaf by leaf, trusting that the world is safe once more. Isn't that a tender thing to picture? A living thing that knows how to close itself off when it needs to, and knows, just as surely, how to open back up when the moment has passed. You might feel a little like that plant tonight. All day long, maybe, you've been open to the world, taking everything in, brushing up against 1,000 small things. And now, here in the dark, you get to fold gently inward. You get to draw yourself closed and quiet, just for a while, resting in the stillness until you're ready to open again with the morning. There's no rush to reopen. There's nothing to reach for out there in the dark. Just let yourself stay softly folded, safe and still, the way that little plant does when the world goes quiet around it. Let your shoulders drop just a touch further as I tell you this next one. Have you ever thought about how a water lily lives? It roots itself down deep in the soft mud at the bottom of a still pond, far below the surface, in the cool and the dark. And from there, it sends up a long, slender stem, all the way up through the water, until at last a single round leaf and a single flower reach the surface and float there, resting on the water as gently as a leaf resting on your palm. The flower opens in the morning light and closes again as evening comes, drifting all the while on the quiet surface, held up by the water underneath it, never having to strain, never having to hold itself up at all. It just floats, rooted deep and resting easy, letting the pond carry its weight entirely. Think of that as you lie here. Think of how the water lily doesn't hold itself up, doesn't fight the water, doesn't struggle to stay afloat. It simply lets itself be held. And you can do the very same thing right now. You can let the bed beneath you be your still, deep pond. You can let it carry every last bit of your weight, the way the water carries that floating flower. You don't have to hold anything up. Not your arms, not your legs, not a single worried thought. Just let yourself float there on the surface of sleep, rooted and restful, carried along without any effort at all. Let me tell you now about the seeds of the coconut palm and how far they can travel. A coconut, that big heavy seed wrapped in its thick, fibrous husk, can fall from a palm tree leaning out over the edge of the sea, drop down into the water, and simply float away. And it can float for weeks, for months even, drifting across the open ocean, carried by the currents for hundreds and hundreds of miles, bobbing along under the sun and the stars, going wherever the water decides to take it. That tough husk keeps it safe and buoyant the whole way, holding the little living seed inside, protected from the salt and the waves. And then one day, gently, the tide carries it up onto some distant shore, some warm sandy beach it has never seen. And there it settles into the sand, sends down its first small roots, and begins to grow into a whole new tree. A palm swaying on a faraway island might have begun its journey, drifting quietly across an entire ocean. Isn't that a peaceful thing to picture? That seed, in no hurry at all, trusting the water to carry it, not knowing where it's going and not needing to know, just floating along until it finds the place where it's meant to grow. You can let yourself drift like that tonight. You don't need to know exactly where sleep will carry you. You don't need to steer or paddle or watch for the shore. Just let the slow currents of your own tiredness carry you along, softly, patiently, all the way to that warm and welcoming place where rest is waiting for you. Feel how heavy your whole body has become now, sinking down a little deeper with every slow breath. Let me share something with you about the bark of a tree, that rough and quiet skin that wraps around every trunk. We hardly ever think about bark, do we? It's just there, gray and brown and weathered, easy to walk right past. But that bark is doing something remarkable every moment of every day. It's a shield, holding in all the precious moisture the tree needs, keeping out the burning sun and the biting cold, guarding against insects and disease, protecting the soft, living heart of the tree underneath. And as the tree grows wider year by year, the old bark cracks and splits and falls away, and new bark forms beneath it. So the tree is always renewing its own protection, always shedding what it's outgrown and making itself fresh again. There's something comforting in that, isn't there? The idea that a living thing can carry its own quiet armor, can protect its soft inner self while still growing, still changing, still letting the old parts fall away when they've done their work. You have that too, in your own way. Some part of you knows how to keep the tender things safe. And tonight, here in the dark, you can let all of it soften. You don't need any armor here. You're safe in this quiet room, held and protected, free to let your softest self rest without a single thing to guard against. Let that thought settle over you like a warm blanket pulled up to your chin. Have you ever heard of the plant that took 2,000 years to wake up? Deep in the earth, scientists once found some old seeds. Seeds from a kind of date palm that had been buried and forgotten for around 2,000 years, tucked away in the dry ground, waiting, sleeping, holding on to life so quietly that you'd never have guessed there was any life in them at all. And when those seeds were finally planted, given a little water, a little warmth, a little care, one of them stirred. After 20 long centuries of waiting in the dark, that ancient seed cracked open and sent up a small green shoot, and it grew into a living tree. Just imagine, a little spark of life, patient beyond all understanding, holding itself ready through the rise and fall of empires, through thousands of quiet years, waiting for the right moment to begin. Isn't that a beautiful thing to rest on tonight? That rest, even the deepest and longest rest imaginable, doesn't put out the little flame of life. That seed wasn't lost during all those years. It was simply waiting, gathering its patience, ready to wake when the time was right. So there's nothing to fear in the deep rest that's coming for you now. However deeply you sleep tonight, however far down you drift into the quiet dark, that steady little spark of you goes right on glowing, safe and warm, ready to wake gently with the morning light, just as it always has. Let your breathing grow a little slower still, each breath softer than the one before. Let me tell you about how ivy climbs. You've surely seen it. That green vine creeping up the side of an old wall, or winding its way up the trunk of a tall tree, reaching higher and higher. But ivy doesn't climb the way you might think. It doesn't grip and strain and haul itself upward. It grows these tiny little rootlets all along its stems, little clinging fingers that reach out and gently take hold of whatever surface they touch, one small point of contact at a time. And so the ivy rises slowly, patiently, never in any rush, just holding on lightly wherever it can, and letting itself grow a little higher, day after day, until one morning it's reached the very top without ever once having hurried. It got there by taking hold of just one small thing at a time. And that's a gentle way to think about anything, isn't it? You don't have to leap. You don't have to strain towards some far-off height all at once. You can just take hold of one small, soft thing, this breath, this moment, this warm and quiet dark, and let that be enough. And then the next small thing, and the next, each one carrying you gently a little further along, until you find, without ever having tried too hard, that you've drifted all the way down into sleep. Feel your legs now, how warm and heavy they've grown, sinking down into the softness beneath you. Here's a quiet little wonder about the willow tree, the one that trails its long green branches down toward the water. A willow loves to grow near a stream or a pond, leaning out over the water, dipping its slender branches low. And the willow is one of the most flexible, forgiving trees there is. When the wind blows hard, it doesn't stand stiff and rigid the way some trees do. It bends, it sways, it lets the wind move it, leaning this way and that, giving way easily. And because it bends so willingly, it almost never breaks. The storm passes, and the willow simply straightens back up again, unharmed, having let the wild wind blow right through it. There's an old bit of wisdom in that, isn't there? That sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to be soft, to bend, to let things move through you, rather than standing rigid against them. Tonight, you can be like the willow. You don't have to hold yourself stiff against anything. You can let every worry, every leftover bit of the day blow gently through you and pass on by, while you just sway and soften and let it all go. Nothing has to stay. Nothing has to be resisted. Just bend, easy and loose, and let the quiet carry the rest away. Let your hands go completely soft now, your fingers uncurling, resting open and easy. Let me tell you about the sap that moves inside a maple tree when winter starts to turn toward spring. All through the cold, dark months, the maple stands bare and still, seeming to do nothing at all. But deep inside, when the days begin to warm just the smallest bit, something quiet begins to stir. The tree starts to draw sweet sap up from its roots, lifting it slowly through the trunk, feeding the buds that will one day become leaves. It's a slow, patient, invisible thing, this rising of the sweetness inside the tree, happening long before there's a single green leaf to show for it. All that gentle work goes on hidden away, in the quiet, in the dark, getting everything ready for the spring that's still weeks off. And isn't that a lovely thing to rest on? That so much of the important work happens quietly, out of sight, in the still and patient dark. Your own body is doing exactly that right now, as you lie here so peacefully, seeming to do nothing at all. There's a whole world of quiet work going on inside you, mending and restoring and getting you ready for tomorrow. All of it unfolding softly while you rest, sweet and slow, like sap rising in a sleeping tree. Feel your chest rise, just gently, and fall again, slower each time. And here's one last small marvel to carry you a little deeper. Think about how a flower makes its color, those soft petals of pink or gold, or the deepest velvet blue. All that color, all that quiet beauty, isn't there to be admired, though of course we do admire it. It's there as a gentle invitation, a soft signal to the bees and the butterflies, a way of saying, quietly and without a single word, come rest here for a moment. There's something sweet for you. The whole flower is really just an act of quiet welcome, opening itself up, offering what it has, asking nothing in return but a little visit. There's a softness in that, isn't there? In something that exists simply to offer a bit of sweetness and rest to whoever comes along. And tonight, this quiet moment is offering exactly that to you. It's opened itself up just for you, asking nothing, only inviting you to come and rest, to settle in, to take the sweetness of this stillness for as long as you like. So let yourself accept it. Let yourself sink into this soft and open welcome, and drift on with me, slow and easy, deeper into the gentle dark, following these quiet green wonders down and down toward the peaceful place where sleep is already waiting, patient and warm, ready to fold itself gently around you. Let me tell you about the way a pea plant reaches out into the world, searching for something to hold on to. If you've ever watched one grow, you might have noticed the little curling tendrils it sends out, thin green threads that wave slowly through the air, feeling their way along. They don't rush, and they don't panic. They just drift out into the space around them, turning ever so gently, until at last they brush up against something solid, a stem, a fence, a bit of trellis, and then, softly, they curl themselves around it and hold on. And here's the sweet part. That plant doesn't know ahead of time where its support will be. It simply trusts that if it keeps reaching, gently and patiently, something will be there to lean on. It doesn't grip the empty air out of fear. It waits, and it feels its way. And in its own quiet time, it finds what it needs. There's something restful in that, isn't there? The idea that you don't have to know exactly where your support is coming from tonight. You can simply let yourself reach, softly, without strain, trusting that the bed beneath you is already holding you, that this quiet moment already has you, that you're already leaning on something steady and warm. You don't have to search for it. It's here. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the bed now, easing back, letting go. Let me tell you about the water inside a single blade of grass. It seems like such a small, ordinary thing. A blade of grass, the kind of thing you'd never look at twice. But inside that slender green shoot, there's a quiet river running, drawn up from the cool soil below, carried gently upward, filling the blade from root to tip. It's what keeps the grass standing tall and soft, that hidden fullness inside it. And when the evening comes and the air grows cool, tiny beads of moisture gather along the edges, so that in the early morning, the whole field glistens, every blade tipped with a small, bright drop of dew. All of that beauty, that shine, comes from something the grass simply took in slowly and held. It didn't strain for it. It just opened itself to the water in the ground and let it rise. You can think of your own breath that way tonight, coming in slow and cool, filling you gently and leaving again, soft and easy, each breath topping you up with a quiet kind of fullness. Nothing forced, nothing rushed, just the slow rise and fall of something alive and at rest. Feel the weight of your arms now, how heavy and warm they've become where they lie. Let me tell you about the way an apple tree lets go of its fruit. All summer long, the tree holds its apples close, feeding them, growing them slowly heavier and rounder and sweeter, doing quiet work day after day beneath the warm sun. And then, when the time is finally right, when the fruit is as full and ripe as it's ever going to be, the tree simply loosens its hold and lets it fall. There's no struggle in it. The apple drops softly to the grass below, and the tree feels no loss, because that letting go is the whole point. That's what all the long, patient work was for. The falling isn't a failure. It's the fruit finding its way to the ground, where its seeds might one day settle in and begin again. And isn't that a gentle thing to rest on tonight? The idea that some things we hold on to so carefully are meant, in the end, to be released. That letting go, when the moment is right, isn't losing anything at all, but simply completing something. You can practice a little of that now, as you lie here. Whatever you've been carrying today, whatever you've been holding just a bit too tightly, you can let it grow ripe and heavy, and then softly let it drop. It'll find its own place in the grass. You don't have to hold it through the night. Let your jaw unclench now, your tongue resting soft, your whole face growing loose and easy. Let me tell you about the sunflower once more. but a different part of its story this time. The part that comes after all the turning and following of the sun. When a sunflower grows old and its bright petals fade, its heavy head bows down low, and it fills, right there in the center, with hundreds and hundreds of seeds, packed together in the most beautiful spiraling pattern you've ever seen. Those spirals aren't random. They curve around in a shape that lets the most seeds possible nestle together in the smallest, coziest space, each one tucked snugly against its neighbors. Nature figured out, long ago, the gentlest and most efficient way to hold all those seeds close. And it did it without a single calculation, just by growing. Slowly, the way it always has. And all those seeds, gathered so carefully in that bowed and heavy head, are the sunflower's quiet promise for next year. A whole field's worth of gold waiting patiently in the dark. You can let your own head grow heavy like that now, sinking into the pillow, full and calm and done with the day's turning, carrying all your own quiet promises safely into the night. Let each breath come a little slower now, a little softer, no effort at all. Let me tell you about the redwood in the fog, high up on the coast, where the great tall trees stand in long, silent rows. These are among the tallest living things on the whole planet, reaching up so high that the very top branches are far above where any rain could easily climb inside them. So the redwood learned to do something wonderfully clever and calm. It drinks from the fog. When the cool mist rolls in off the sea and drifts up through the branches, the tree gathers it, catching the moisture right out of the air on its needles, letting it trickle down, drinking in the sky itself. It doesn't fight the height it grew to. It simply learned to take what the air offered softly, without struggle. And on the forest floor far below, that same fog drips down from the branches like a gentle rain, watering everything beneath. So the tallest tree becomes a quiet gift to everything small that lives in its shade. Think of that as you lie here, the way something can be enormous and ancient and still so gentle, still just quietly drinking the mist and letting the rest fall softly down to the little things below. Let your legs grow heavy now, sinking down, warm and loose and still. Let me tell you about the way clover folds itself up at night. Out in the meadow, when the light begins to fade and the cool of evening settles over the grass, the little clover leaves, those soft three-part leaves you've seen 1,000 times, quietly draw themselves together and fold down, closing up for the night. It's such a small, tender thing, this folding, happening all across the field as the dark comes on. Thousands of tiny leaves settling closed at once, going still. No one tells them to. They simply feel the light softening and the day ending, and they answer it by folding gently inward, resting, waiting for the morning. And when the sun comes back and warms the meadow again, they open right back up, unhurried, ready for another day. You're doing the very same thing right now. You're feeling the day soften and end, and your whole body is answering it, folding gently inward, growing still, settling closed for the night, just like all that quiet clover out under the darkening sky. It's the most natural thing in the world, this folding up when the light goes. You were always meant to do it too. Feel your eyelids now, how heavy they've grown, how good it feels to just let them rest. Let me tell you about the acorn, that small, smooth thing that fits so neatly in the palm of your hand. It seems like such a modest little seed, hardly bigger than a thumbnail, with its little cap perched on top like a tiny hat. And yet, folded up inside that small, quiet shell is the whole blueprint for an oak tree, one of the grandest, sturdiest, longest living trees there is. Everything the oak will ever be, all its spreading branches and its deep, strong roots, and the hundreds of years it might one day stand, all of it is already there waiting patiently inside that little acorn, asking nothing but time and a bit of soft ground. It doesn't have to hurry to become the oak. It doesn't strain or worry about all it might one day be. It simply rests in the earth, holding everything it needs quietly within itself, and lets the growing happen slowly, in its own good time. There's such peace in that, in knowing that everything you need for tomorrow is already tucked safely inside you tonight, that you don't have to become anything right now, that you can simply rest, small and complete, the way an acorn rests all winter in the dark, holding a whole forest gently inside. Let your breath settle into that slow, easy rhythm now, in and out, soft as wind through leaves. Let me tell you about the morning glory and the way it greets the day. This is a climbing vine that opens its trumpet-shaped flowers in the early hours, when the light is still new and cool and soft. Each bloom lasts just a little while, opening wide in the freshness of the morning, drinking in that gentle early light. And then, as the day grows warm and bright, softly closing again, its work done. It doesn't hold its flowers open all day long, clinging to them, trying to make them last. It lets each bloom have its quiet moment and then lets it go, trusting that tomorrow there will be new ones, fresh and ready, waiting to open again. There's a soft wisdom in that, in living one bloom at a time, in not asking any single flower to last forever. And tonight, you can let go of the day the same gentle way, knowing you don't have to hold on to it, knowing that tomorrow will bring its own fresh morning, its own new opening, all on its own, without you having to reach for it now. This moment is enough. You can simply let it be what it is, and let the rest arrive when it arrives. Feel how still your body has become now, how quiet, how heavy, and warm and at ease. Let me tell you about the way tree roots share what they have. Deep underground, where it's cool and dark and silent, the roots of the trees don't just take for themselves. When one tree has plenty, more sugar, and more nourishment than it needs, it will quietly pass some along through the soil, through those hidden connections, to a neighbor that's struggling, an old tree in the shade, or a young one just getting started. There's a kind of gentle generosity happening down there all the time, entirely out of sight. No fuss, no show, just one living thing sharing quietly with another, because there's enough to go around, and the forest is stronger for it, held together not by any single mighty tree standing alone, but by all of them leaning into one another beneath the ground, giving and taking, keeping each other going through the long, dark seasons. Let that settle over you now, the soft thought that you're held to, that you don't have to be strong all on your own tonight, that you can simply rest in the quiet and let yourself be carried, the way the whole forest carries every tree within it, gently, generously, all through the night. Let yourself drift a little deeper now, following these quiet green wonders down and down into the soft and settled dark, where sleep is already waiting, patient and warm, ready to fold itself gently around you. Let me tell you about the cotton plant and the softness it carries inside. Out in the warm fields, this quiet little plant spends its whole season doing one simple thing: growing small green pods that swell slowly in the sun. And then, when the time is right, those pods split open and out spills the softest white fluff you can imagine, light as a cloud, gentle as the down on a bird's chest. All that softness was there all along, tucked up tight inside a hard little shell, waiting patiently for the right moment to open. The plant doesn't rush it. It doesn't try to force the pod apart before it's ready. It just lets the sun and the days do their slow, warm work, until one morning the softness is simply there, spilling out into the light, ready to be gathered up and spun into the very sheets you might be lying beneath right now. Think about that for a moment, that the gentle fabric wrapped around you tonight began as a quiet green thing standing in a field, holding its softness patiently inside until the time was right. There's no hurry in any of it, and there's no hurry in you tonight either. You can let yourself open slowly, softly, in your own good time, the way the cotton opens, gentle and unforced, releasing all that lightness into the warm and waiting dark. Let your shoulders sink a little further into the bed now, easing back, letting the whole weight of the day slip away. Let me tell you about the way a grapevine spends the winter. When the cold months come and the last of the leaves have fallen, a grapevine looks, honestly, like it might be finished. Just a twist of bare brown wood, gnarled and still, with nothing green about it at all. You'd walk right past it and never guess there was any life left in there. But under that rough old bark, the vine is simply resting, holding everything it needs deep inside, waiting out the cold with the greatest patience. And when spring finally warms the ground again, from that same twisted, tired-looking wood come tender new shoots, soft green leaves, and eventually whole heavy clusters of fruit, sweet and full, hanging in the summer sun. All of that was waiting inside the bare winter vine the whole time, quiet and hidden, gathering itself for the season ahead. Isn't that a soft thing to know as you're lying here? That resting isn't the same as stopping, that the vine, looking for all the world like it has nothing left to give, is really just gathering, just waiting, just holding its sweetness safe until the moment comes to bring it out. You can rest that same way tonight, knowing that nothing is lost in the resting, that everything you'll need tomorrow is already gathering quietly inside you now, in the dark, in the stillness, while you simply let yourself be. Feel your breath slow down a little more, in and out, soft and easy, no effort at all. Let me tell you about the way a fig tree feeds the whole small world around it. A fig tree, standing warm and full in the late summer, becomes a kind of gentle gathering place, its branches heavy with soft, ripe fruit. And all sorts of little creatures come to share in it. The birds that flutter in at dawn, the small animals that visit in the cool of the evening. All of them welcomed, all of them fed. The tree doesn't count what it gives away. It doesn't keep track or hold anything back. It simply offers what it has, freely and quietly, spreading its branches wide and letting whoever comes take what they need. And in return, those little visitors carry the tree's seeds off with them, far and wide, so that new fig trees rise up in new places, and the quiet giving goes on and on. There's such an easy generosity in that, such a lack of worry, just a tree standing in the sun, offering its sweetness to the world without a single anxious thought. And tonight, you can let go of your own counting, your own keeping track, all the little tallies the day asks you to hold. You don't have to keep any of them now. You can simply lie here, open and easy as that fig tree in the warm evening light, letting the world take care of itself for a while, letting everything be enough exactly as it is. Let that thought settle over you, like a warm blanket drawn gently up to your chin. Let me tell you about the snowdrop, one of the very first flowers to appear each year. While the ground is still cold and hard, while there's frost in the mornings and the world still looks half asleep, this small white flower quietly pushes up through the frozen earth and opens, delicate as anything, nodding gently on its slender stem. It doesn't wait for the world to be warm and easy. It doesn't wait until everything is perfect and comfortable. It simply comes, soft and brave and quiet, bringing its little bit of white into the gray, promising that the long cold won't last forever, that gentler days are already on their way. There's such a tender courage in that small flower, such a quiet faith, and it asks nothing of anyone. It just opens where it is, in the cold, and lets its quiet beauty be a small kindness to whoever happens to pass by. Let that soften something in you tonight. The thought that even in the coldest, quietest, most still part of the year, life is already stirring, already reaching gently toward the light. And even now, in the deep, still dark of night, something in you is resting and mending and getting ready, quietly, without your having to do a single thing. You can trust it, the way the snowdrop trusts the spring it's never seen. Let your hands go completely soft now, your fingers uncurling, resting open and loose. Let me tell you about the way a spruce tree holds the snow. Up in the cold northern woods, where the winters are long and deep, the spruce trees grow their branches sloping gently downward, tapering as they rise, so the whole tree takes the shape of a soft, quiet cone. And when the heavy snow comes falling, layer upon layer, those sloping branches let it slide right off, gently, a little at a time, so the tree is never crushed beneath the weight of it. The snow that would break a stiffer, prouder tree simply slips away from the spruce, because the spruce knows how to bend, how to let go, how to not hold on to more than it can carry. There's a deep, quiet wisdom in that shape, in branches that give a little rather than fighting the weight. And you can carry that same softness into your sleep tonight, letting whatever weight the day piled onto you simply slide away, a little at a time, sliding off your shoulders, off your chest, off your mind. None of it something you have to hold. You were never meant to carry all of it. Let it slip away now, gently, the way the snow slips from the spruce, leaving the branches light and easy and free beneath the quiet winter sky. Feel how heavy and warm your whole body has become now, sinking down a little deeper with every slow breath. Let me tell you about the water hyacinth, a plant that lives its whole life floating. Out on the still, warm surface of a quiet pond, this gentle plant drifts freely, never rooting itself into the ground at all, just floating along wherever the soft water carries it. It has these swollen, spongy little stems, filled with air, that keep it buoyant and light, riding easily on the surface no matter where the day takes it. It doesn't struggle against the water. It doesn't try to anchor itself down or fight the slow current. It simply lets itself be held up, lets itself be carried, resting on the surface as easy and light as a leaf. And its soft purple flowers open right there, drifting, at peace, blooming wherever the water happens to take them. Imagine that for a moment, a whole life spent floating, held up entirely by something gentle and larger than yourself, never having to grip or grasp or hold on tight. You can let yourself float like that now, resting on the surface of your own breath, held up by the soft bed beneath you, carried gently towards sleep, without having to paddle or reach or steer. Just let the water carry you. Just let yourself drift. Let each breath come a little slower now, a little softer. No effort behind any of it. Let me tell you about the way a rose protects itself so gently. We think of the rose as a soft thing, all velvet petals and sweet perfume. And it is. But along its stem it grows these small thorns, quiet little guardians, not to hurt anyone, but simply to keep the tender bloom safe while it opens. The softness and the thorn grow on the very same stem, side by side, and neither one cancels out the other. The rose can be gentle and still protect what's precious in it. It can open all that beauty to the world and still keep a quiet boundary around itself. And there's no contradiction in that at all. It's simply how the rose keeps its softness safe. And there's a lovely lesson resting in that for you tonight. That you can be gentle and still be protected. That resting doesn't mean leaving yourself unguarded. That here in your warm and quiet bed, you are perfectly safe, wrapped up snug, with the whole night keeping watch around you. Nothing needs your guarding now. You can let the softest part of you rest right out in the open, knowing it's safe, knowing you're held, letting the petals of you unfold, completely in the quiet dark. Let your jaw unclench now, your tongue resting soft, your whole face going loose and easy. Let me tell you about the way a pumpkin grows fat and slow on the vine. All through the warm months, the pumpkin just sits there in the field, resting on the earth, doing nothing that looks like doing anything at all. And yet, quietly, steadily, it grows. Day by day, it fills out, rounder and heavier, drinking in the sun and the rain, taking its own sweet time, never rushing toward its ripeness. It doesn't compare itself to the pumpkin growing next to it. It doesn't worry that it isn't big enough yet, or orange enough, or ready enough. It simply lies there in the warm dirt and lets the growing happen at its own unhurried pace, trusting that when autumn comes, it will be exactly as ripe as it was ever meant to be. There's such deep ease in that, such a gentle lack of hurry. And you can borrow that ease tonight. You don't have to rush toward anything. You don't have to be more ready than you are. You can simply lie here in the warm dark, heavy and still, and let whatever needs to grow in you grow slowly, quietly, at its own gentle pace, the way the pumpkin ripens in the long, unhurried afternoon. Feel your legs now, how warm and heavy they've grown, sinking down into the softness beneath you. Let me tell you about the way jasmine saves its sweetest scent for the night. All through the day, this delicate little flower stays fairly quiet. But as the sun goes down and the air grows cool and still, the jasmine opens fully and pours out its perfume into the darkness, sweet and soft and heavy, drifting on the night air. It blooms for the moths and the quiet creatures of the evening, for the dark hours when most of the world has gone still. It seems to understand that some kinds of sweetness belong to the nighttime, that there's a beauty that only comes out when the day has finally let go. And isn't that a lovely thought to rest on? That the night has its own gifts, its own soft sweetness, its own quiet blooming that the busy daylight never sees. You're in that gentle nighttime world now, the world of the jasmine, where things soften and open and let out their sweetness in the dark. Breathe it in, that quiet sense of the night as a kind and gentle place, a place made for resting, made for drifting, made for letting the sweetest, softest part of yourself unfold at last into sleep. Let your breathing grow slower still now, each breath softer than the one before, carrying you gently down. Let me tell you about the way a birch tree stands so lightly in the woods. With its slender white trunk and its small fluttering leaves, the birch is one of the gentlest looking trees in the whole forest, swaying easily with every passing breeze, never rigid, never stiff. When the wind moves through the woods, the birch simply moves with it, bending and swaying and letting the wind pass right through its light branches, giving way instead of resisting. That's part of how it survives the storms that break sterner trees. By being supple, by being soft, by knowing how to bend. And its pale bark peels away in thin, papery curls, letting go of the old, making room for the new, never clinging to what it no longer needs. There's a quiet grace in a tree that knows how to yield, how to sway, how to let things pass through instead of standing hard against them. And you can sway that way towards sleep tonight, soft and supple and easy, letting every thought that drifts by simply pass right through you the way the wind passes through the birch, moving on, leaving you swaying gently, peacefully, in the still and quiet dark. Feel the weight of your arms now, how heavy and warm they've become where they lie, sinking down into the bed. Let yourself drift a little deeper still now, following these soft green wonders down and down into the quiet and settled dark, where sleep is waiting for you, patient and warm, ready to fold itself gently all around you. Let me tell you about the way a poppy scatters its seeds, because it's one of the gentlest little tricks in the whole plant world. When a poppy has finished blooming, when those bright papery petals have fallen away and drifted down to the ground, what's left behind is a small round seed pod, sitting there on top of its slender stem like a tiny green lantern. And right up near the top of that little pod, just under the rim, there's a ring of the smallest openings you could imagine, like tiny windows all the way around. So when the wind comes along and rocks the stem back and forth, the pod sways and tips, and a few seeds sift out through those little windows and sprinkle down onto the earth below, just a few at a time, never all at once. It's a bit like a salt shaker, gently tipping this way and that, letting a little out with every sway. The poppy doesn't fling everything into the world in one desperate burst. It lets the wind do the work, slowly, patiently, one soft gust at a time, trusting that a few seeds today and a few more tomorrow will be more than enough. There's something so unhurried about that, so calm. And you can be that unhurried tonight too, letting the thoughts of the day sift gently out of you, just a few at a time, with each slow sway of your breath. Nothing forced, nothing rushed, everything drifting down and settling softly into the dark. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the bed now, easing back, letting the whole weight of the day slip away. Let me tell you about the mangrove, a tree that has learned to live right at the edge of the sea, in that soft, salty mud where the land and the water meet. Most trees couldn't manage it there at all. The salt would be too much for them, the ground too wet and shifting and strange. But the mangrove has found its own quiet way to thrive in that in-between place. It sends down these wonderful arching roots that lift the whole tree up above the water, like a set of patient legs holding it steady while the tides come and go beneath. Twice a day, the water rises and covers those roots, and twice a day, it slips away again. And the mangrove just stands there through all of it, calm and unbothered, rooted in a place that's never quite land and never quite sea. And some kinds of mangrove even have a clever way of dealing with all that salt, pushing it out through their leaves, letting go of what they don't need so they can keep the sweetness of the fresh water inside. A whole world of small creatures shelters among those roots, little fish and crabs finding safety in the tangle. There's such a deep steadiness in a tree that can live right on the edge of things, that can hold its ground while the water rises and falls all around it, never anxious, never rushing to be anywhere else. And you can rest in that same steadiness now, letting the tides of your thoughts rise and fall as they please, knowing you don't have to move with them, knowing you can simply stay here, rooted and safe and still, while everything else drifts in and out on its own quiet schedule. Feel your breath slow down a little more, in and out, soft and easy, no effort at all. Let me tell you about the way a strawberry plant sends out its runners. If you've ever looked closely at a patch of strawberries, you might have noticed these long, slender stems that creep out sideways from the main plant, running along the top of the soil like little green threads reaching across the ground. The plant calls them runners, and they're the strawberry's gentle way of making more of itself. Every so often along one of those runners, the plant sets down a new little cluster of leaves, and that spot puts out its own tiny roots and takes hold in the earth. And just like that, a brand new strawberry plant begins, connected for a while to the one that made it, drawing on it for support until it can stand on its own. And then that new plant sends out its own runners, and so it goes, the whole patch slowly spreading outward across the garden, one gentle reach at a time. There's no great effort in it, no struggle. The plant simply extends itself a little further into the world whenever it's ready, laying down roots wherever the ground feels right. It reminds me that growth doesn't have to be dramatic, that sometimes it's just a quiet reaching out, a soft setting down of roots in a new place, one small step and then another. And tonight, there's nothing you need to reach for at all. You can simply lie here, held and still, and let the reaching wait for the morning, while you rest in the warm and settled dark. Let that thought settle over you, like a warm blanket drawn gently up to your chin. Let me tell you about the orchid and how patiently it grows. Orchids are some of the slowest, most unhurried plants you'll ever come across, and maybe that's part of why they feel so serene. Many of them take years, actual years, to grow large enough to bloom for the very first time, gathering themselves quietly, all that while, in no rush whatsoever, to show the world what they can do. And when an orchid finally does flower, it holds on to those blossoms for a wonderfully long time, sometimes for weeks and weeks. The petals lasting far longer than the quick, bright flowers of a summer meadow that come and go in a single day. The orchid seems to understand that the most beautiful things are often the slowest to arrive, and that once they're here, there's no need to hurry them along. Some orchids live perched high up on the trunks of trees in the warm forests, their roots hanging loose in the humid air, drinking in the moisture and the mist, asking almost nothing of the world, just a little water, a little light, a place to rest. There's a lesson in that kind of patience, a soft one, easy to lean into as you're lying here. Good things take the time they take. There's no rushing the bloom. And tonight, you don't have to hurry toward anything at all, not even sleep. You can simply let it come to you in its own time, the way the orchid comes to flower, slowly, quietly, exactly when it's ready. Let your hands go completely soft now, your fingers uncurling, resting open and loose. Let me tell you about the way a sequoia begins its life, because it's one of the loveliest little wonders in all the plant world. These are the giant trees, the truly enormous ones, the tallest and among the biggest living things that have ever stood upon the earth, so wide at the base that a whole group of people could join hands and barely reach around them, so tall that the very top disappears up into the sky. And yet every single one of these towering giants began as a seed no larger than a flake of oatmeal, a tiny thing you could balance on the tip of your finger, so small and light you might blow it away with a single breath. Just imagine it, that whole immense tree, thousands of years of growing, all of it folded up and waiting inside a seed you could barely see. It doesn't rush to become the giant it will one day be. It starts small, impossibly small, and simply grows a little at a time, season after quiet season, adding just a little each year, never hurrying, never straining, until after a very long while it stands taller than almost anything else alive. There's such comfort in that, isn't there? The thought that the greatest things start out so tiny and so gentle, that everything mighty was once something small and soft and full of patience. And you don't have to be anything grand tonight. You can just be small and soft and resting, like that little seed in the dark earth, holding everything you'll ever need quietly inside you, in no hurry to become anything at all. Feel how heavy and warm your whole body has become now, sinking down a little deeper with every slow breath. Let me tell you about the way a tulip spends the winter, tucked away out of sight. When autumn comes and the last of the tulip's leaves have yellowed and faded, the whole plant seems to vanish entirely from the garden, and you'd be forgiven for thinking it had gone for good. But down beneath the soil, safe from the frost and the cold, the tulip has quietly folded itself away into a bulb, a small, round, papery thing resting in the dark earth. And inside that bulb, wrapped up snug and secret, the tulip has already made next spring's flower, complete, in miniature, tucked away and waiting. It's all in there through the long, cold months. The petals, the stem, the bloom, everything the plant will need, sealed up tight and sleeping through the winter. The tulip doesn't worry about the snow above or the long frozen nights. It simply rests down there in the quiet dark, holding its flower close, keeping it safe, waiting for the warmth to come round again. And when the ground finally softens and the days grow long, the tulip wakes and pushes up through the soil, and there's the flower it made months ago, ready at last to open in the spring sunshine. There's such a deep peace in that, the idea that rest isn't idle, that even in the stillest, darkest part of the year, something quiet and important is being kept safe. And you're keeping something safe tonight too, just by resting, just by letting yourself sleep, folding the day away and holding tomorrow gently inside you, in no hurry at all to unfold it. Let each breath come a little slower now, a little softer. No effort behind any of it. Let me tell you about the way a passion flower unfurls, one of the most intricate and beautiful blossoms in the whole green world. When a passion flower opens, it reveals this astonishing arrangement of petals and delicate threads, a whole ring of fine wavy filaments spreading out from the center like the rays of a small purple sun, each one perfectly placed, the whole thing looking almost too elaborate to be real. And yet the plant makes it effortlessly, quietly, without any fuss at all, spinning out that beautiful complicated pattern the way you or I might take a breath. It doesn't strain to be so lovely. It simply grows the way it grows, following some soft inner design laid down long ago. And the beauty comes on its own. The flower opens for just a day or two, glorious and complete. And then it gives way to the next. And the vine keeps climbing gently along the fence or the trellis, unfurling one perfect bloom after another, all through the warm months. There's something restful in the thought that such intricate beauty can come so easily, so naturally, without any effort or worry, just by a living thing following its own quiet nature. And you don't have to work at anything tonight either. You can simply let yourself be the way you are, soft and settling and quiet, trusting that everything you need is already unfolding on its own, gently, in its own good time, while you drift. Let your jaw unclench now, your tongue resting soft, your whole face going loose and easy. Let me tell you about the way a carrot grows down instead of up, quietly storing everything away in the dark. When you look at a carrot growing in the garden, all you really see is a modest little tuft of feathery green leaves poking up out of the soil. Nothing much to look at, easy to walk right past. But the real work, the real treasure, is happening down below, out of sight, where the plant is slowly, patiently swelling a single root, drawing sweetness down into it, day after day, packing away all that stored up sunshine into the cool, dark earth. The carrot spends the whole growing season doing this quiet underground work, filling its root with everything it will need, growing sweeter and deeper and fuller the longer it stays in the ground. It doesn't need anyone to see it. It doesn't put on any kind of show. It just works away in the dark, gathering its sweetness where no one's watching, content to be hidden. There's something lovely in that. The reminder that some of the best and richest things happen quietly, out of sight, in the dark, with nobody looking on. And that's exactly where you are now, resting in the quiet dark, doing your own gentle hidden work, gathering back everything the day took out of you, filling yourself slowly with rest, growing calmer and softer and deeper with every breath, in the still and secret dark where sleep is waiting. Feel your legs now, how warm and heavy they've grown, sinking down into the softness beneath you. Let me tell you about the way a nasturtium turns rain into little jewels. The nasturtium has these wonderful round leaves, shaped almost like tiny lily pads, wide and flat and softly cupped. And they have a special quality that you'd hardly believe unless you saw it. When the rain falls and lands upon them, the water doesn't soak in or spread out the way it does on other leaves. Instead, it gathers itself up into perfect round beads, bright little globes of water that roll across the surface of the leaf like drops of quicksilver, catching the light, sliding this way and that with the slightest tilt, never wetting the leaf at all. The whole surface is covered in the tiniest waxy hairs, far too small to see, and they hold the water up and away, so that each drop stays whole and round and shining. And when the leaf tips just enough, the little jewels roll right off the edge and fall away, leaving the leaf dry and clean and ready for the next soft rain. There's such a quiet magic in that. The way something so simple can turn a shower into a scattering of tiny bright pearls, and you can let things roll off you that same easy way tonight. Every worry, every leftover thought from the day beating up and rolling gently away, never soaking in, never staying, just sliding off the edge and vanishing into the dark, leaving you clear and calm and softly at rest. Let yourself drift a little deeper still now, following these quiet green wonders down and down into the soft and settled dark, where sleep is already waiting for you, patient and warm, ready to fold itself gently all around you. Let me tell you about the way a spider plant makes babies of itself, quietly, without any fuss at all. If you've ever kept one on a windowsill, you might have watched it do this without quite realizing what you were seeing. The mother plant, sitting there in its pot with its long striped leaves arching out and over the edge, sends out these slender little stems, thin as string, reaching out into the air. And on the end of each one, out of nowhere, a tiny new plant begins to form, a perfect miniature of the parent, complete with its own little leaves, dangling there in the open air like a small green lantern hung out on a line. It doesn't need soil to start. It doesn't need anything but time and a bit of patience, just hanging there, growing slowly, waiting until the day it finally touches down somewhere soft and puts out roots of its own. The mother plant holds it up all the while, feeding it, keeping it safe, letting it grow strong before it ever has to stand alone. There's something so tender in that, the way one plant will pour itself out to make another, asking nothing in return, simply passing life along from one small green hand to the next. And you can rest in that same kind of gentleness tonight, held up and cared for by the quiet dark all around you. Nothing asked of you, nothing to do but grow soft and easy where you lie. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the bed now, easing back, letting the whole weight of the day slip away from you. Let me tell you about the way a pineapple grows, because it's not at all what you might picture. Most of us only ever meet a pineapple sitting in a bowl on the kitchen counter, and it's easy to imagine it hanging from some tall tree the way a coconut does. But that's not how it happens at all. A pineapple grows low to the ground, right down in the middle of a spreading rosette of long, tough, spiky leaves, sitting there like a jewel cradled in the center of the plant. And it takes its time. Oh, so much time. From the moment the plant first begins until that single sweet fruit is ready. Whole seasons come and go, sometimes 2 full years of slow, patient growing, of gathering sunlight and warmth day after day, of swelling just a little bit at a time. 2 years for one golden fruit. The plant never hurries. It never seems to worry that the ripening is taking so long. It simply stands there in the warm soil, low and quiet and steady, letting the sweetness build inside it at its own unhurried pace, trusting that when the time is finally right, the fruit will be exactly as it should be. And there's a soft kind of comfort in that, the reminder that good things ripen slowly, that there's no rushing the sweetness, that some things are worth every quiet season it takes to make them. You don't have to hurry toward anything tonight. You can let yourself ripen slowly into sleep, taking all the time in the world. Feel your breath slow down a little more now, in and out, soft and easy. No effort behind any of it. Let me tell you about the way a fern uncurls in the spring, because it's one of the loveliest slow motions in the whole green world. Before a fern is a fern, before it's that wide, feathery, spreading thing, it starts as something the old folks used to call a fiddlehead, a tight little coil curled in on itself, wound up snug like the top of a violin, tucked close to the ground. And when the warmth of spring comes creeping in, that little coil begins, ever so slowly, to unwind. Not all at once, never all at once, but bit by bit, the tip loosening first, then the next turn, then the next, unrolling itself gently into the air, opening up frond by frond, stretching out into the light, one small unfurling at a time. If you sat and watched it, you'd hardly see it move. It goes so slowly, but come back the next day, and you'd find it a little more open, a little further along, patiently becoming itself. There's no strain in it, no force, just this quiet, steady unwinding, this gentle letting go of everything that was held so tightly wound. And you can let yourself unwind that same easy way tonight, one slow turn at a time, all the tightness of the day loosening, uncurling, opening up into the soft dark. Nothing forced, nothing hurried, just an easy, gentle unwinding into rest. Let your hands go completely soft now, your fingers uncurling, resting open and loose, like the fern letting go of its tight little coil. Let me tell you about the way a beech tree holds on to its leaves through the winter, when almost every other tree has let its own go. Most trees, when autumn comes, will loosen their leaves and drop them, letting the wind carry them away, standing bare and empty through the cold months. But the young beech does something different, something quietly stubborn and lovely. It holds on. All through the winter, those coppery, papery leaves stay clinging to the branches, dry and pale gold, rustling in the cold wind, refusing to fall. There's even an old word for it, marcescence, the holding on of leaves that have already died, keeping them right there on the tree until spring. And when the new buds finally start to swell in the warming days, only then does the beech let the old leaves go at last, pushing them gently off to make room for the new. Some say those old leaves shelter the tender buds through the winter, giving them a little cover from the worst of the cold. Whatever the reason, there's something touching in it, a tree that keeps the old close through the darkest part of the year, and only releases it when there's something new and green ready to take its place. You don't have to let go of everything all at once tonight either. You can hold what you need to hold softly, gently, and let the rest fall away only when you're ready, in its own good time. Feel how heavy and warm your whole body has become now, sinking down a little deeper into the bed with every slow breath. Let me tell you about the way a lotus rises up out of the mud, because it's one of the most quietly astonishing things a plant can do. Down at the bottom of a still, murky pond, deep in the thick, dark silt, where you'd think nothing lovely could ever begin, the lotus puts down its roots. It starts there, in the muck and the shadow, in the least likely place of all, and then, ever so slowly, it sends a single stem climbing upward, up through the cool, dark water, reaching for the light it can't yet see, growing taller and taller, until at last it breaks the surface. And there, lifted up above the water, it opens the most perfect, clean, pale flower you can imagine, petal by petal spreading wide to the morning sun, without a single speck of mud upon it. All that darkness it climbed through, and not a trace of it clings to the bloom. The lotus even has a special waxy coating on its petals so that water and dirt simply beat up and roll right off, leaving the flower spotless and bright. There's such deep gentleness in that story, the way something so pure can rise up out of something so heavy and dark, the way the beginning doesn't have to be beautiful for the ending to be. And as you lie here now, you can let yourself rise that same slow way, up out of the heaviness of the day, up through the dark towards something clear and calm and soft, leaving all the murk of the day behind you, unclinging, untroubled, opening quietly into rest. Let each breath come a little slower now, a little softer, carrying you gently upward and inward at the very same time. Let me tell you about the way a hazel tree flowers in the very depths of winter, long before anything else dares to. When the woods are still bare and cold and quiet, when the ground is hard and most living things are curled up fast asleep, the hazel does the most surprising thing. It puts out these long, dangling golden catkins, soft little tassels that hang from the bare branches and sway in the cold wind. Some of the earliest flowers of the whole year. They open up when snow might still be on the ground, offering the very first food to any creature awake and hungry in that hard season. The hazel doesn't wait for things to get easy. It doesn't hold back until the weather turns kind. It simply trusts its own quiet timing, blooming when it's ready to bloom, even in the cold, even in the dark, even when nothing around it seems to say the moment is right. And there's something reassuring in that, the reminder that even in the coldest, quietest stretch, life is still stirring, still getting ready, still keeping its own gentle appointments. Nothing has stopped. Nothing has truly gone to sleep for good. It's all just waiting its turn, keeping its own slow time. You can trust your own quiet timing too, tonight, letting rest come when it comes, in its own way, at its own pace, sure and steady as the winter hazel. Let your jaw unclench now, your tongue resting soft against the roof of your mouth, your whole face going loose and easy. Let me tell you about the way a sundew glistens in the morning light, one of the strangest and prettiest little plants there is. The sundew is a tiny thing, growing low in wet, boggy ground, and its little leaves are covered all over in fine hairs. And on the tip of each hair sits a small round drop of something clear and sticky and shining. In the early light, the whole plant sparkles as if it were strewn with dew, hundreds of tiny glittering beads catching the sun, which is just how it got its name. It's a beautiful thing to look at, that little constellation of shining droplets. Now, the sundew does use that stickiness to catch tiny insects. That's how it feeds in soil too poor to give it what it needs. But let's not dwell on that part tonight. Let's just rest in the picture of it. That small green plant covered in 1,000 points of light, glistening quietly in the wet morning, doing exactly what it was made to do, gathering what it needs so gently that it just looks like it's wearing jewels. There's a soft beauty in the way nature so often solves its problems by making something lovely. The way even the plant's hunger comes wrapped in all that glittering light. And you can let your own mind glitter softly and go still now, each little thought catching the light for just a moment and then going quiet, settling, growing dim and peaceful in the gathering dark. Feel your legs now, how warm and heavy they've grown, sinking down into the softness beneath you. Too heavy to move, too comfortable to want to. Let me tell you about the way a magnolia flowers. because it's a tree so old it hardly seems to belong to our time at all. The magnolia was blooming on this earth so long ago that there were no bees yet to visit it. None of the buzzing little creatures we think of now as flowers' oldest friends. So the magnolia learned to be pollinated by beetles instead. Slow, ancient beetles that crawled across its broad, pale petals in a world we would hardly recognize. And because of that, the magnolia flower is built tough and simple and strong, its petals thick and sturdy, able to stand up to those clumsy beetle feet. It has kept that same old shape for a length of time almost too vast to hold in your mind, blooming spring after spring, long before there were people to admire it, long before most of the flowers we know today had even appeared. When you see a magnolia open its great creamy blossoms in the spring, you're looking at something that has been doing exactly that for longer than almost any other flower on earth. A living memory of a world unimaginably old and quiet and green. And there's a deep, settling peace in that thought. The way some things carry on gently through such enormous stretches of time, patient and unhurried, blooming and resting and blooming again, through age after age. You're held in that same long, gentle flow tonight. One small, quiet evening among countless others, resting as living things have always rested, softly, simply, in the dark. Let your breathing grow slower still now, each breath softer than the one before, carrying you gently down into the deep and settled quiet. Let yourself drift a little deeper still now, following these soft green wonders down and down into the quiet and settled dark, where sleep is already waiting for you, patient and warm, ready to fold itself gently all around you. Let me tell you about the peony and its quiet little friendship with ants, because it's one of the sweetest arrangements in the whole garden. When a peony gets ready to bloom, its buds swell up tight and round, and all across the outside of them, there's a thin, sugary coating, sticky and sweet as honey. And the ants find it. They come climbing up the stem in little patient lines, drawn by that sweetness, and they wander all over those fat green buds, drinking in the sugar the flower makes just for them. And here's the lovely part. While they're there, taking what they need, they gently nibble away at the tough little sheath around the bud, loosening it, helping it along, so that when the moment comes for the peony to open, it opens all the more easily. Nobody arranged this. Nobody planned it. The flower simply learned over a very long stretch of time to offer a little sweetness to the small creatures around it, and in return, they help it bloom. There's such a soft kind of harmony in that, isn't there? The way the plant gives and receives at the very same time, the way it doesn't have to do everything alone. You can let that thought settle over you now. The idea that being helped is the most natural thing in the world, that even a flower leans a little on the kindness around it and blooms all the better for it. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the bed now, easing back, letting the whole weight of the day slip away from you. Let me tell you about the way wisteria climbs, slowly and patiently, up and over anything it can find. A wisteria is in no hurry at all. It sends out long twining stems that reach through the air, feeling their way. And when they find something to hold, a post, a trellis, the branch of an old tree, they begin to wind themselves around it, turning and turning in slow spirals. And a wisteria will keep on doing this for a very long time. There are wisteria vines alive today, that are more than 100 years old, thick as a person's arm, heavy and strong, draping whole walls and archways in cascades of soft purple flowers every spring. It took them decades to get there, quietly climbing a little higher each year, adding a little more, never rushing, never straining, just reaching gently upward season after season until they'd covered everything in that soft falling color. And when the wisteria finally blooms, it hangs down in long, drooping clusters, hundreds of little blossoms swaying together in the lightest breeze, filling the whole warm air with the gentlest sweetness. There's a deep patience in that, the way something so beautiful comes only from years and years of slow, unhurried growing. You don't have to arrive anywhere quickly tonight either. You can drift the way the wisteria climbs, softly, gradually, one gentle breath at a time, in no hurry at all to reach the place where sleep is waiting. Feel your breath slow down a little more now, in and out, soft and easy, no effort behind any of it. Let me tell you about a bluebell wood in the spring, because it's one of the quietest, loveliest sights the whole green world has to offer. There are old woodlands where, for just a few short weeks each year, the entire forest floor turns the softest shade of blue. Thousands upon thousands of bluebells come up all at once, nodding their little bell-shaped flowers on slender stems, filling every open space beneath the trees with a low, misty haze of color, like a pool of soft blue light lying gently over the ground. And these bluebells are patient things. They spend most of the year hidden away underground as small round bulbs, waiting in the dark. And they choose their moment carefully, coming up early in the spring before the trees overhead have unfurled their leaves. That way, they catch the sunlight while it can still reach the forest floor, drinking it in during those few precious weeks before the canopy closes over and the shade returns. And a proper bluebell wood, the old, wild kind, takes a very, very long time to form. Those carpets of blue can take hundreds of years to spread, one slow bulb at a time, which is why an old bluebell wood is such a treasured, ancient thing. Picture it now if you like. The tall, bare trees, the soft light slanting down, and that endless drift of gentle blue lying quiet and still across the ground, swaying just barely in the cool spring air. Let that image carry you down a little deeper into your own soft and quiet place. Let your hands go completely soft now, your fingers uncurling, resting open and loose. Let me tell you about the honeysuckle and the way it waits for evening. All through the warm day, a honeysuckle vine keeps its sweetness held back, its long trumpet-shaped flowers open but quiet, not giving much away. But as the sun goes down and the air begins to cool, something shifts. The honeysuckle starts to pour out its scent, richer and sweeter and heavier than anything it offered in the daylight, filling the whole dusk with that thick, honeyed perfume that seems to hang in the still evening air. And it does this for a reason, a gentle one. In the cool of the night, there are soft-winged moths that come drifting through the garden, and the honeysuckle saves its sweetness and its scent for them, calling them in through the dark with that heavy fragrance, offering them the nectar hidden deep in those long, pale flowers. So the honeysuckle is a creature of the evening, really, coming most alive just as the rest of the world is settling down to rest. There's something lovely in that. The idea of a plant that saves its very best for the quiet hours, that blooms most sweetly in the dark. As you lie here now, in your own quiet hours. You can breathe in slow and imagine that soft honeyed scent drifting past you, filling the cooling air, welcoming the night, the same way you're welcoming it now. Gently, easily, glad to see it come. Feel how heavy and warm your whole body has become now, sinking down a little deeper into the bed with every slow breath. Let me tell you about the crocus and the way it pushes up through the last of the winter. When the year is still cold and gray, when the ground is hard and most everything is still fast asleep, the crocus is one of the very first to stir. It sends up its slender green shoots, while there's often still frost on the ground, sometimes even nudging its way up through a thin crust of leftover snow, opening its small cup-shaped flowers of purple and gold and white to whatever faint sunshine it can find. It doesn't wait for the world to be warm and welcoming. It comes up into the cold and the quiet and simply begins. One of the first small signs that the long winter is finally starting to loosen its grip. And the crocus is a careful little thing too. On gray days and as evening falls, it closes its petals right back up, folding itself gently shut to protect the softness inside. And then it opens again when the sun returns. Open in the light, closed in the cold and the dark, keeping its own quiet rhythm through those uncertain early weeks. There's a gentle bravery in that, in being one of the first to come up while everything's still so cold. And there's a gentle wisdom in it too, in knowing when to open and when to fold back up and rest. You're folding gently shut now yourself, in your own way, closing up for the night, drawing everything softly inward, keeping the warmth safe inside you until the morning comes. Let each breath come a little slower now, a little softer. No effort behind any of it. Let me tell you about the way mint spreads, quietly and generously, all through the corners of a garden. If you've ever grown mint, you'll know it doesn't much like to stay put. It sends out long creeping stems that travel just beneath the surface of the soil, and here and there along the way, they push up new little shoots, fresh green sprigs of mint rising up wherever those runners reach. So from one small plant, over a season, you can end up with a whole soft patch of it, spreading out gently in every direction, filling the ground with that cool, bright, unmistakable scent. And it's a hearty, forgiving thing. Mint. You can cut it, and it just keeps coming back, sending up more, always more, never seeming to mind, never running out. There's an easy sort of abundance to it, the way it gives so freely, the way it fills whatever space you give it with fresh green life and that clean, gentle fragrance that seems to wake up the whole garden. Just brush your hand against it, and the scent lifts into the air, cool and soft and calming. You can imagine that now if you like. The smell of fresh mint drifting up around you, cool and clean and easy, settling your mind, smoothing everything out. Let it carry you a little further down, into that soft green quiet, where nothing is asked of you, and there's nothing at all left to do. Let your jaw unclench now, your tongue resting soft against the roof of your mouth, your whole face going loose and easy. Let me tell you about the daffodil and the way it comes back, year after year, faithful as anything. A daffodil grows from a bulb tucked down in the earth, and once it's planted, it settles in and simply stays, coming up every single spring to nod its bright yellow trumpets in the cool early sunshine. And it doesn't need much from anyone. Once it's in the ground, it looks after itself, storing up energy through the spring in that little bulb below, then quietly dying back and resting all through the summer and autumn and winter, waiting patiently underground for its moment to come round again. And each year there tends to be a little more of it. The bulbs slowly multiply beneath the soil, one becoming two becoming a small cluster, so that a handful of daffodils planted once can become a whole cheerful drift of them given enough quiet years. They ask for nothing, and they return every spring without fail. One of the most dependable, warm-hearted little flowers there is, coming up bright and golden, just when the world most needs a bit of brightness. There's such comfort in that kind of faithfulness, in something that comes back and comes back, reliable and steady, year after year after year. You can rest in that steadiness now, knowing the morning will come round again just as surely, knowing that all you have to do tonight is let go and trust it. Feel your legs now, how warm and heavy they've grown, sinking down into the softness beneath you. Let me tell you about the elder tree and the soft white clouds of blossom it wears in the early summer. The elder is a humble sort of tree, one that grows quietly in hedgerows and along the edges of fields. Nothing grand about it, easy to walk right past. But come early summer, it covers itself all over in great flat sprays of tiny creamy flowers. Hundreds of little blossoms clustered together into soft rounded heads, so that the whole tree seems to be wearing pale clouds draped over its branches. And those flowers carry a light, sweet, musky scent that drifts on the warm evening air, gentle and old-fashioned and comforting. Then, later in the year, once the blossoms have faded, the elder gives again, hanging heavy with clusters of small dark berries that feed the birds all through the ending of the summer. So it gives twice, this quiet, unassuming tree. First its clouds of soft white flowers, then its dark generous berries asking for nothing, standing modestly at the edge of things, offering what it has to whatever passes by. There's a gentle grace in that kind of quiet generosity, in giving freely without any fuss, without needing to be noticed or admired. Let that softness settle over you now, the image of that humble tree wrapped in its pale clouds of blossom, standing quiet in the warm dusk, and let yourself grow just as soft, just as easy, just as unhurried. Let your breathing grow slower still now, each breath softer than the one before, carrying you gently down into the deep and settled quiet. Let me tell you about the primrose, one of the shyest and earliest of the spring flowers. Tucked low against the ground, the primrose doesn't reach up tall. It stays down close to the earth, its soft pale yellow flowers rising just a little way above a low rosette of crinkled green leaves, growing quietly along shady banks and in the dappled edges of woodlands. It comes early, one of the first gentle splashes of color after the long gray winter, opening its flat, five-petaled blooms in the cool of the early year, when there's still a chill in the air and not much else in flower. And its name really means the first little rose of the season, the first soft sign that warmth is on its way back. There's something so tender about the primrose, the way it stays low and modest, the way it doesn't clamor for attention, but simply opens quietly in the shade, offering its gentle pale light to anyone who thinks to look down and notice it. It asks for so little, just a bit of soft shade and cool ground, and it gives back that quiet early beauty year after year. You can be low and easy like that tonight, staying close to the softness beneath you, not reaching for anything, not straining toward anything, just resting quietly right where you are, exactly as you are, needing nothing more than this. Feel the weight of your arms now, how heavy and warm they've become where they lie, sinking down into the bed. Let yourself drift a little deeper still now, following these soft green wonders down and down into the quiet and settled dark, where sleep is already waiting for you, patient and warm, ready to fold itself gently all around you. Let me tell you about the way a chamomile flower grows, because it's about the gentlest little plant you could ever hope to meet. It stays low and small, sending up thin, feathery leaves, and then those tiny daisy-like blooms, each one with a soft golden center and a ring of little white petals leaning back, as if the flower itself is relaxing, tipping its face up to the warm sky. And here's the loveliest part. Chamomile has this quiet reputation, going back hundreds and hundreds of years, as the plant that helps you rest. People would gather those little flowers, dry them gently, and steep them in warm water at the end of a long day. And something in that soft golden brew would ease them down into sleep. There's a kind of tenderness in a plant like that, a plant whose whole gift to the world is calm, whose whole quiet purpose seems to be helping tired creatures let go and rest. So let that little flower keep you company now, low and soft and golden, asking nothing of you, only offering its gentle, sleepy sweetness, drifting up around you like steam off a warm cup. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the bed now, easing back, letting the whole weight of the day slip away from you at last. Let me tell you about the way a forest floor holds on to the quiet. Down there, beneath the tall trees, under the layers of fallen leaves and soft brown needles, everything moves slowly. So slowly you'd never see it happening at all. A leaf that drifts down in the autumn takes its own sweet time to soften and settle and melt back into the dark, rich earth. And no one hurries it along, and no one minds how long it takes. Season after season, the forest simply lays down another soft blanket of leaves over the old one, and everything underneath grows deeper and warmer and more still. There's no rush down there, none at all. Things happen exactly when they happen, and not a moment sooner. And the whole forest floor just breathes slowly in the dark, holding its warmth, keeping its quiet. You can let yourself be part of that stillness now, sinking down into it, layer by soft layer. Nothing to hurry, nothing to finish, just the deep and patient quiet of a place that has never once been in a hurry about anything. Feel your breath slow down a little more now, in and out, soft and easy, no effort behind any of it. And you know, before we drift the rest of the way down, I just want to say something quietly. If, when this is over, you'd like another one of these to carry you a little further into the night, there'll be another gentle little journey, ready to begin on its own, softly, without you having to lift a finger or reach for a thing. You can just let it come, the way the tide comes in over the sand, the way the evening comes down over a quiet field. So if you feel yourself surfacing later in the small dark hours, there'll be another soft voice waiting here in the green quiet to walk you back down towards sleep. You don't have to do anything at all. Just let it find you. Let me tell you about the way a stand of aspen trees whispers in the wind. Their leaves hang on the thinnest, flattest little stems, so that even the softest breath of air sets them trembling and turning. And the whole grove fills with this gentle, papery rustling, a sound so soft it's almost like the trees are murmuring to each other, low and easy, in a language older than words. On a warm, still evening, when hardly anything is stirring, the aspens will find whatever faint breeze there is and turn it into that soft green whisper, that quiet, shimmering hush that runs all through the grove and then fades away again into stillness. It's one of the most restful sounds there is, that gentle rustle of leaves, the kind of sound that seems to smooth away every sharp edge inside you. So let it fill your mind now, that soft whispering of the aspens, rising and falling, carrying every last thought away on the warm and drowsy air. Let your hands go completely soft now, your fingers uncurling, resting open and loose against the sheets. Let me tell you about the way a seed pod finally opens, after all its long, slow waiting. All summer it holds itself closed, tight and patient, keeping everything safe inside. And then, when the days have grown short and dry, and the time is exactly right, it simply eases itself open, without any effort, without any strain, and lets its seeds slip out into the world one by one. There's no struggle in it. The pod doesn't force anything. It just waits until the very moment it's ready, and then it opens the way you open your hand when you've decided to let something go. Slowly, softly, completely. And everything it was holding drifts gently out and away, carried off on the breeze, and the pod is left empty and light and easy. Its whole quiet work finally done. You can open like that now, softly, letting go of everything you've been holding on to through the day, every small worry, every little knot of thought, just letting it all slip loose and drift away into the dark until you feel light and empty and easy too. Feel how heavy and warm your whole body has become now, sinking down a little deeper into the bed with every slow breath you take. Let me tell you about the way the very last light leaves a meadow at the end of the day. The sun slips lower and lower toward the far edge of the field, and all that golden light goes soft and long and honey-colored, stretching across the tops of the grasses, turning every seed head into a tiny glowing lantern for just a moment. The bees have long since gone home. The flowers have folded themselves close for the night, and the whole meadow settles into that hushed, blue-gray stillness that comes just before dark, when the air grows cool and the colors fade so gently you can hardly say when the day became the night. Nothing in that meadow is worried about the coming dark. The grasses simply stand there, still and easy, letting the light go, welcoming the quiet, trusting that the morning will come round again in its own good time, the way it always has. You can trust it too, that same soft way, letting this day go without holding on, letting the dark come down over you as gently as it comes down over that quiet field. Let each breath come a little slower now, a little softer. No effort behind any of it at all. Let me tell you one last small thing about the way a plant grows in its sleep. Because even in the deepest dark of night, when everything is still and silent, and the whole garden seems to be resting, the plants are quietly growing. It's true. Many of them do most of their growing at night, in the cool and the dark, stretching just a little taller, unfurling just a little more, while no one is watching and nothing is asking anything of them. They don't need the light for it. They don't need to be seen. They simply rest and grow at the very same time, easy and unhurried, letting the night do its slow, gentle work on them. And I think there's something so lovely in that. The idea that rest itself is a kind of growing, that lying here soft and still in the dark, You too are being quietly mended and renewed, knit back together a little, made ready for whatever gentle morning is coming. You don't have to do a thing to earn it. Like the plants, you grow simply by resting. You heal simply by letting go. Let your breathing grow slower still now, each breath softer than the one before, carrying you gently down into the deep and settled quiet, where nothing is asked of you at all. So let all these green and growing things stay with you now as you drift the rest of the way down. The low golden chamomile and the whispering aspens, the slow forest floor and the seed pod easing open, the meadow letting go of its last soft light, and all the countless quiet plants growing gently in the dark. They've been here far longer than any of us, doing their slow and patient work, asking for nothing, offering everything. And they'll still be here in the morning, softening the light, sweetening the air, holding the whole green world together while you sleep. There's nothing you need to hold on to tonight, nothing you need to fix or finish or figure out. It can all wait until the light comes back. For now, there is only this: your soft, slow breathing, the warm weight of your body sinking down, and the deep and gentle quiet folding itself all around you. If any part of this stayed with you tonight, if it helped smooth the edges off your day even a little, you're always welcome to come back and rest here again whenever you need to, night after night. There'll always be a quiet place for you here in the green and the dark. But for now, there's nothing left to do and nowhere left to go. Let your thoughts grow slow and soft and far away. Let the last little bit of the day dissolve like mist off the morning grass. Let yourself sink down and down, easy and warm and heavy, into that deep, still place where sleep has been waiting for you all along, patient as a seed in the dark earth, quiet as moss on an old gray stone, gentle as fog settling over a tall and ancient tree. Rest now. You're safe. You're warm. You're exactly where you need to be, and everything else can wait until morning. Sleep well. Good night.